rolling.
Yep.
I'm not bragging, man.
And rolling.
Hey, are you ready to see the YouTube? What the fuck is the name? YouTube Saints. It's a new podcast. It's the shit. It's keeping the globalists out of your fucking mind. Put tinfoil in your nose. Hillary's a demon.
From Stegosaurus age, there was a club that controlled us in our souls. They keep us in line, tell us to do all the time, and they hold us by our balls. And over thousands of millennia passing, they put us through different events, yeah. Gave us cancer and 9/11 and the plague, and then fucked us in the ass. Now the whole wide world is run by homo frogs that are controlled by forces far beyond me. God is now part of the league under Muhammad Ali, and we're all toys, children of the mods. Carefully chose to toy with nominally. Wanna know why it all be? Just follow the oil money. And it's run by a race of Jews, and the lizards control them too. And it's run by some black dude. I'm in love with your Gotti. I'm in charge of the club now too. And my dick is inside some dudes. I control all your thoughts and all your moves. I'm in the Illuminati. I'm in the Illuminati. I'm in the Illuminati. I'm in the Illuminati. Everything that you believe's probably not true. I'm in love with some gay black dude. First step of the joining the New World Order as you find out your first day. Commit a blood sacrifice and perform 2 acts of which the nature of which is gay. Then you go up in the tower where the man in high castle bends you over for him to rape, yeah. Come to think of it, actually I blew 20 guys and my membership card is late. Now I'm thinking like, do you know who I call up for information on Illuminati? Someone there could explain me how world domination plans tie into boys. Cock stuck up my butt, now I'm on bed rest, hurts my butt when I pee. Now I'm all out of money, gave all of it to the Chinese. The world is run by an Asian dude who transforms to a gay Tom Cruise, and that's controlled by the same black dude. I'm in love with your Gotti, and these guys that are in my room who represent New World Order too, and they say that when they're inside of my poop chute, I'm in the Illuminati. I'm in the Illuminati. I'm in the Illuminati. I'm in the Illuminati. Everything that I believe is coming now true. I'm in love with the shape of dudes. The forces of Hades pulls us, controlled by an ancient culture. Killed all of the Hades and the Jews of the Mercedes troll off. Was told I could pay to join up. All they did was rape my cornhole. I called to complain, was told that all sales are final, don't call back. And it's run by a pack of coons, and they pull us with magnets too. The cabal where our ass is looped. I'm in love with your Gotti. Black guys always send my nudes, and now my butthole smells like dudes. And your Gotti says soon as he jizzes, I'm in the Illuminati. Come on Gotti baby, come on. Come on, I'm in the Illuminati. Come on Gotti, rape me, come on. Come on Gotti baby, come on Gotti baby, come on. Come on Bobby, I'm in the Illuminati. Everything that I believe I was told by black dudes, and that are up in my anus too.
Now listen, I don't have a problem with the homosexual lifestyle, but this is going too far.
What? Welcome everybody. Welcome to the YouTube Saints. It's Sunday night. You know what that means. It's the guy Jeff Holiday and Nick, aka the Wizard of Cause.
Hey.
Low rent Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, but just to finish my story up, Jeff. Yeah, so like I asked her, "What are you doing for Father's Day?" And she says, "Oh, I'm gonna be spending it with Daddy." And then everyone at the sex club just looked really confused. So.
Okay.
I got them for days. That
Okay.
that originally went in a much worse direction, so you're all welcome.
Yeah, no. So my dad actually. It's Father's Day. I called my dad. And we mutually wished each other's Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. By the way, Nick included. Happy Father's Day, buddy.
At long last,
Yeah.
I finally get the recognition I demanded for breeding.
But I talked to my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, I haven't found yet your Sunday night late night show." And I was like, so I told him how to find this show, and so hopefully he's watching. Hi, Dad. Hope you are. But knowing that my dad was going to be watching, I was like, I gotta play something really offensive. So Rucka, I had to start the show with some Rucka. We love Rucka Ali.
Yeah, and I think it's important for the older generations to be made aware of what pop music is like these days. It's not like it was when they were growing up.
That's
no,
right.
No.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's how it goes. How you feeling? How you feeling this week? How you doing?
I'm frustrated with my Wi-Fi, and and sweating my balls off under this jacket. But
Take it
other
off,
than that,
baby.
doing pretty well. I probably will end up doing that, or I will just keep it on and lose the 15 pounds I'm trying to lose before VidCon. So that'd be nice.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. It's like I
Wow.
mean it is so hot, and I could use some water, and I'm looking like there's 3 lights here, but I half expect a fucking Cardassian to insist that there's 5. So
That's a good reference. That's a good reference. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pure fire tonight, pure next generation fire.
Well, I was gonna say the studio is a little warm tonight because we're definitely in the same building right now.
Yeah, it's great. I'm so happy we took that loan from Fannie Pack and Freddie Mercury during the housing crisis. There, it was a good move on our part. It really helped me out when I couldn't make rent anymore, and so I'm just, hey, I'll live in the back of Danny Duchamp's Honda Fit. Nope, I'm gonna sleep under my desk at the studio like a professional.
Fannie Pack and Freddie Mercury, huh?
Something like that. Isn't that who that was? They did all
Sure.
those student loan things and then backed them with housing assets and then backed that with gold in Fort Knox. But then we discovered John Travolta stole all of it in that movie Battlefield Earth, so there was nothing left to back the loans with, so the housing economy collapsed. That's how it happened, right?
You could say they put a lot of people under pressure.
Mine's really wasn't nearly as clever as yours. Okay, fuck it. All right, fine. No, let's just delete that whole past like 30 seconds. You saw nothing. You saw nothing.
Yeah, we're just gonna like end the stream and we're gonna reload it like nothing ever happened.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah, y'all can repeat your super chats at your leisure.
Rewind. Anyway, all right. I think there's a couple of things that came in really like at the beginning. We got Mysterious Senor Hitler. Nick Goroff is a washed-up Moon Jew actor, bringing in California's failing policies. He's bad for the Granite State, and he's bad for America. It sounds like Mysterious Senor.
I can see that my opponent is in the chat tonight. Listen, all because you're incumbent doesn't mean you get to hijack my show by sending me a paltry, what was that, $5?
Yeah, $5.
Yeah, paltry $5. That's going to the campaign to defeat you, fucker. Who's the fool now? Who's the communist now? You redistributed that to me yourself.
For those who don't know, Nick is actually running for state senate.
State rep
of New Hampshire. Yeah, that's right.
Yep, running here. Is courted by the Libertarian Party. Actually, I run. Funny enough, shit, I unplugged the headphones. Yeah, funny enough,
Quick,
it turns
say a
out
bunch of
that-
bad shit about him. Yep, no, we're back.
Yeah, well, as it turns out, like I guess one of my regulars over on my channel, and I believe he watches Saints when he can, used some of my words on the House floor for a speech or something, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then we hung out and drank a bunch of scotch, and he convinced me in a smoke-filled room that I ought to run for office. So it just felt right. It just felt time. But yeah, I do want to fuck the family courts up rather aggressively and legalize weed if I can and abolish last call. So yeah, I got plans. Communist plans.
Plans within plans. Giovanna, Liviana, Jeff, come talk to me about epistemology if you want to deal with Hyperionism. I can give you a firm footing to address that stuff. I never want to deal with Hyperionism ever again, honestly. That was such a chore. My God.
Third Eagle Books ended up being a bit of a reprieve for you, huh?
Yeah, I did a stream earlier today, the Wingnut Roundup, my one solo show that I do a month over on my channel. And I decided to take on something that I feel almost killed me. It was so stupid that I kind of wanted to just not live anymore. Big Mike, our buddy. Happy Father's Day to the both of you. Happy Father's Day to you too, buddy. All right, let's kick this off. Let's light a fire under the ass of this show, and let's start reading some news.
Yeah, now if there's one thing you know about Father's Day, it's that the best way to celebrate it is to celebrate Grandma just straight up beating some pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this from the New York Post. Grandma strangles rabid bobcat with her bare hands. I want that to be my grandma.
Fucking metal, dude. Metal as fuck. Wow.
Well, this makes sense. This is probably Fat Pat's granny. A rabid bobcat was no match for this Georgia granny. Dee Dee Phillips strangled a crazed cat that pounced on her as she was working in the front yard of her home in rural Hart County, about an hour north of Athens. I took it straight to the ground and then started inching my hands up to its throat, the 46-year-old told Athens Banner Herald.
She's a 46-year-old grandma?
Yeah. That makes them young these days. Go ahead with a gilf. Go ahead with a gilf joke.
I mean, okay, 46. Okay, no, that's fine. Continue. It's fine.
Yeah?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the rest. I'll do this part in ASMR. Then she squeezed.
No, don't do that.
Once I got him where he wasn't moving, I started screaming for my daughter-in-law to call 911, she said. Phillips suffered a broken finger and numerous bite and claw wounds to her hands, arms, chest, and legs. She also started a round of rabies shots after learning the cat was rabid. The daughter-in-law...
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, the daughter-in-law of a bobcat trapper, Phillips... Phillips knew she was dealing with a vicious animal and needed to act fast. They go for your jugular. When they can get the vein, you're dead in a couple minutes, she said, noting that she was careful not to yell until the cat was subdued because she didn't want her 5-year-old granddaughter to come outside. This lady's just a fucking boss. She's love it.
Metal, dude. So metal.
Yeah. Phillips refused to release the beast until her son showed up and stabbed the animal 4 or 5 times. It never budged, so I knew it was completely dead, she said. Ironically, she had just applied a woman who behave rarely make history bumper sticker to her truck and was preparing to snap a photo for her husband when the brazen bobcat wandered into her yard.
Yes.
My neighbor's dog was barking and it drew my attention, Phillips told the paper. Then the attack happened in a flash. She snapped a photo of the cat and it took 2 steps and it, quote, took 2 steps and was on top of me. It came for my face. Phillips' cousin set up a fundly.com account to raise money for her medical expenses. She's already collected $24,000 as of Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
Good job, Grammy.
Yeah.
God damn, I wish that was my grandma.
That's amazing. That's really badass. I mean,
Well,
my grandma was pretty hardcore. She's pretty hardcore. Yeah. She lived in, the frozen north of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And if the pipes froze over... she'd have to go dig her way to the shitter, to the outhouse. She's a hardcore old Finnish lady. But, I mean, maybe she strangled a bobcat. I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
but nobody wrote an article about if she did.
Well, I know my grandma did a similar thing to my cousin when he wouldn't shut the fuck up about his Pokemon. Yeah. So, it's kind of comparable.
My dad killed a rattlesnake. He told me the story when he was a teenager. He's walking to school or some shit, saw a rattlesnake, and he stepped on its head and took out his pocket knife and just
I think the only thing that would have made this more impressive is if she'd have DDT'd the thing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grandma suplexes bobcat into submission.
I got that motherfucker in a full Nelson, and I made it scream for mercy.
I had my lawn chair out, so I figured I'd just fold it up and beat him with it until it finally tapped out. It's did the cat tap out? Surprisingly, yes.
That is actually exactly how every grandma sounds, by the way, is that shrill...
Every grandma is a mix of Eunice from Courage the Cowardly Dog and Archer's mom.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Okay, Giovanna Liviana, Nick, wasn't I the first to wish you Happy Father's Day today? You didn't even like the tweet, you naughty boy. You naughty boy.
I don't do fucking goddamn. I mean, with the amount of shit posting I do these days, I call it work prep. I miss a lot of things. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Giovanna. In fact, I'm glad I didn't like tweet and see it right away though, because I think the most important thing, like most important person that wished me a happy Father's Day today was Quinn. And in that classic spirit of, kids getting presents for, making lunch for, or whatever, she insisted that I make her a burrito. So
Okay.
I was very much reminded that I was a father today. Like, happy Father's Day, Dad. I want lunch now. This is what it's all about. Thankless.
Let's see. Our buddy Mouth says his story is at 52,647 words. Sorry to make the stream. We did a stream over on Nick's channel the other day. Talking about writing and fiction writing, doing book stuff, book chat, that kind of stuff.
Writer stuff, like real writer stuff. None of that gay ass Starbucks MacBook shit. No. Real writer stuff. Scotch and a Moleskine and vernaculus, self-deprecation and self-loathing. It was all there.
Yeah. What he said. Rhino says it's not Father's Day. It's a guy who bangs your mom. It's Motherfucker's Day. Fair. That's fair. Breadmaster PBJ. Grandma on my dad's side was 42 when I was born. Hey, never too young to start. I don't know what to say to that. But okay, that's fine. That's fair. Giovanna, never start a fight with an older woman. You'll lose because we have experience. True. Very true. Jables Boogly, be sure to check out the Lesser Saints Discord every Sunday before the YouTube Saints, the one and only pre-show for the Saints at 5:30 p.m. And that's true. We've got a link in the description for the pre-show, the Lesser Saints. They do the show before this show, and then after this show is over on Twitch, our friend Calligator, twitch.tv/CALIGATOR does the after show. So there's like a 3-show segment on Sunday of just entertainment.
It's like a trinity, to harp on the Saints. All right, I'm done. I was gonna say something about, can you imagine what this story would have been like, and what the jokes could have been like if instead of a bobcat it had been a cougar. So it'd be something like, "Oh, Grandma decided to pick a fight with her daughter-in-law."
I mean,
would have been good. It's contextual.
We'll do one more. We got to get to the next story though. Sunbird 2 turn got shill for the Saints pre-show. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much, Sonny. Appreciate you. All right, let's get to the next one. This is another. I kind of feel
like a proud father every time I see like a decent viewer rating on the pre-show or the after show. I'm like, our babies, Jeff. Our babies are growing up so fast.
Don't be disparaging. They're grown people.
Yeah, they're fucking great. It's just the shows. It's kind of like,
I mean, it could be kind of like the fruit from the loins kind of thing, I suppose. But like, I don't know. Yep. They make their own shows and they do a good job with it. I like them.
And they do, and I like it too, honestly. And this is not like, there's no joke at all. One of the things that's actually impressed me and that I've enjoyed, especially about the pre-show, is that whenever possible, Jables or Waffle will make a point to like check in and see if we've got like the format ready to find out what stories we're talking about, because they don't want any overlap. They don't want to be overlapping. That's professionalism you don't see on YouTube that often.
That's very true. Very true. All right, so I guess we have nothing but feel-good news tonight, which is totally fine by me. I'll read this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dog waits with missing 3-year-old in cornfield overnight until help arrives. Look at that good boy. Look at that good boy.
This week in Good Boy News.
That's right. Remy Elliott, 3, disappeared on Thursday near her home in Culin, Missouri. Police officers and volunteers searched the cornfield near the girl's home for nearly 12 hours, and when they finally found her Friday morning, they found her Yorkshire Terrier, Fat Heath, waiting by her side. Fat Heath? Look at Fat Heath. What a good boy, Fat Heath. Timber Merritt, Remy's mom, said losing her daughter was stressful. I looked for her by myself, thinking maybe she was just in the woods or somewhere where I just couldn't see her. And I was calling for her, and when she wasn't calling back, I realized I don't think I'm going to find her on my own. Merritt knew she needed the help searching in the huge cornfield, so she called friends, family, and law enforcement. The search party grew to about 100 people. 2 helicopters also joined the search. John Kopp was one of the first people to start helping Thursday night. He said, "It was stressful and emotional looking for the lost 3-year-old. We were all just walking back and forth from one end to the other, yelling her name. All the flashlights started dying, and the sheriff's office decided to call it for the night. Search party continued to look, and more people joined around 6 a.m. Friday. Let's see. Merritt's brother Quinlan drove from Western Kentucky to help in the search. He was the one who eventually found Remy, but the toddler wasn't alone. Her dog was with her when they spotted in the field about a half a mile away from the house. They said that she was asleep when he picked her up. She was definitely exhausted, hot, really sweaty, and it took a while to drink anything. Because her faithful tiny dog was there, Remy wasn't terrified to be alone in the wilderness overnight. She said she wasn't scared because Fat Heath was there. If he wasn't, I think she would have been terrified. Remy is back in her normal self after visiting the Black River Medical Center in Poplar Bluff. She's suffering from mosquito bites, but has itch cream to treat them. Her trusty pup, Fat Heath, made sure the scary night wasn't worse. Aww!
That is good. That's a good story.
That
And
dog
honestly,
deserves a lifetime supply of bacon.
that, or I mean, I think I hate to say it, but screw Angus. I think we found the next governor of the state of Kansas here. I mean, I'd like to see the attorney general shoot that one down. I was like, sir, do you understand that this is a hero dog? A hero dog saved
That's
the
true.
child from a cornfield. The child didn't even emerge from the cornfield trying to mind control nobody, because the dog did such a good job. Children of the Corn references.
See, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. I was a big pro Angus guy, the dog that was going to run for the governor of Kansas. But the thing is,
Not to throw shade at Angus. He's done great work for his community.
But Fat Heath here is in Missouri, so how can Fat Heath run for the governorship of Kansas?
Oh no! See that? Oh well, no, that was part of the story, and that's the funny thing. Kansas law has no residency requirement to run for anything. Vermin Supreme.
That's right.
Vermin Supreme was running for attorney general there last week.
That's
and he's
right.
from Massachusetts.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? Yeah. All right. I think we can we call this officially? The YouTube Saints officially endorses Fat Heath for the governor of Kansas?
Yeah, he belongs, honestly. Like, that dog has displayed the stalwart resolve, good decision-making, dedication to protecting those closest to him. He's just a good boy. And I think he deserves a shot to rule over the people of Kansas with an iron paw.
That's his tagline. That is his tagline. We need like a promotional political file. I might even do it later. Of Fat Heath, 2018 Kansas governor. He's a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make
now. Now I'm pretty sure Disney's probably already purchased the film rights to this, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. Fat Heath will be voiced by Patton Oswalt.
Oh
Guaranteed.
fuck! I hope not. I don't like Patton
Well, they
Oswalt.
can't go ahead and make the film decent. I mean, have you seen Star Wars?
Yeah. Nonsensical Mecha. Be sure to check out the Lesser Saints Discord before the YouTube Saints. We know. Rimshi says, be sure to check out the Lesser Saints Discord before the YouTube Saints. Serenity Kuju says, be sure to check out the Lesser Saints Discord every Sunday before the YouTube Saints, the one and only pre-show. Jesus Christ, guys.
These guys, between this and the Rise-Through thing, there's a frightening level of coordination going on in the Discord right now.
I feel like our Discord has weaponized itself.
It's become sentient unto itself.
Yeah. Breadmaster PBJ, Jable stopped shilling a show that only has 15 people watching out of pity. Hey, I watch it, and I don't watch it out of pity. I watch the pre-show because it's a good show. That's not
Yeah, I talk to Jables out of pity. I watch the show because it's funny.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Love you, Jables.
I've had drinks with Jables. He's a cool dude. He's a really cool dude. Yeah, I've hung out with him in real life.
Honestly, I honestly, genuinely, I'm equally interested and terrified of the notion, though, of actually having drinks with both Jables and Waffle at the same time. Throw Rimshi in there just for good measure, and no, that what's last call? Who gives a fuck? No.
Okay, so anyway,
Charles glasses. God damn it.
No, I'm not wearing. I'm wearing some bling glasses. Don't worry about it. Giovanna Liviana, Breadmaster PBJ. You already tried to start a fight with an older woman. I watched the LSD show. Growls. Nonsensical Mecha says also check out the Kingdom of Discordia stream after YouTube Saints. Jesus Christ, guys. Y2KNW. Be sure to check out the Lesser Saints Discord every Sunday before the YouTube. So what the fuck? What are you people doing? What are you doing? I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys are literally showering us with money to talk about how much people need to go to the pre-show, and it's cool. They should go check out the pre-show. But
I mean, I'm half expecting at this point, like, the meme's gonna get around, like, Matt Christensen's gonna pop in halfway through his own show and be like, hey, don't forget to check out my show. It has to go on at the same time. Blonde and the Beta. It's going. It's not actually going on now. Don't tune in. Do not go and watch that show.
No, it's I still like Matt's show. I like Matt's show.
Well, no, I'm saying, are they still? Oh wait, no, that's right. They were slated. They had the block before us, didn't they?
Yeah, they had the block before us.
Okay.
They started going a little bit later and whatnot, but I think they're probably done by now.
Yeah, and now if I'm not mistaken, Jabel's main enemy is Fat Pat.
Isn't Fat Pat everybody's enemy?
Big Mike. Everyone's enemy.
Big Mike says if Joey Simmons ran for the House, he would be known as Rep Run. What? Known as Rep Run. Nick, what should we call you? By the way, my 19-year-old begged me to make her a quesadilla yesterday. It never ends. I don't know what that means.
No, it means that the kids always want Mexican food no matter how old they are on Father's Day.
Oh.
Oh, the other thing. No, I think that was supposed to be like, what was it, Reverend Run? Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't have a hip-hop name yet because I'm still working on my mixtape. It's some hot fire.
Oh, Joey Simmons from Run DMC?
I think so.
Okay, I'll check. I'll look. Joey.
Yeah,
Simmons.
I'm pretty sure that's the reference.
Yeah. Stage name Run from fucking Run DMC. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah,
hey, no, fuck yeah.
Yeah, Reverend Run. I mean, is he really running for something?
I guess
these days, who could tell? I mean,
fuck,
Dankula is talking about taking over UKIP with like Sargon and that other couple people and Paul Joseph Watson. Which, I mean, if you want credibility for a political movement, the InfoWars guy is your guy. But yeah, I like that I set a trend on this one. I do. I like this set a trend. Now it's like, oh shit. I mean, I've been pushing his ass to run and Sargon for a while too. I'm like, when are you gonna run for parliament? He's like, never. Why would I want to do that? Because it'd be funny. But yeah,
why do anything? Because it's funny. It's right. This says pre-show got owned by Gators after show before the show. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, by all means, keep sending in Streamlabs or SuperChats to explain why this is happening. I won't mind that at all.
Don't explain it. Keep confusing Jeff. This is wonderful. I'm not even trying to follow. I just find the progression of dialogue kind of funny. It's like watching a Spanish movie without the subtitles if you don't speak Spanish. You're just like, yeah, that's right, Rosa.
You should fluff your hair. Fluff the whole thing. Yeah, that's good. Mr. Cat.
This.
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Mr. Captain Snacks, do we all actually deserve dogs? Fat Heath is a very good boy. That's true, he is. He absolutely is.
None of us deserve dogs. Dogs are too good for this world.
Yeah. Alright, so we got one more news article, and then we're going to bring Sean in, and we're going to have some fun.
Now, if Becky's in the room, you might want to tell her to plug her ears. This might bother some basic-ass Beckys out there.
Let's do it.
The truck crash scatters Fireball whiskey across Arkansas highway. That's right. Looks like we'll be working this for a while. Updates as they're available. Arkansas DOT tweeted in a slurred font. June 14th, UPI. Two semi trucks crashed on a highway in Arkansas Thursday morning, leaving miniature bottles of whiskey scattered across the road. The Arkansas Department of Transportation shared photos of the aftermath of the crash between the two trucks as hundreds of bottles of Fireball cinnamon whiskey spilled onto the highway. Looks like we'll be working this for a while, the department wrote, adding, and nothing of value was lost. I fucking hate Fireball. It's I can drink it. I'm not saying it's like, I mean, it's better than like Jenkins dry gin, which is distilled literally next to the fucking airport here in Manchester, and it tastes like bug spray. But goddamn, I mean, I was get the fuck out of here. Now, unspecified. Let's see. The crash occurred at 10:45 a.m. on Interstate 40 west and caused the roadway to close. Unspecified, non-life-threatening injuries occurred as a result of the crash. The Department of Transportation said. About 2:30 p.m., the department said crews used mechanical broom to sweep away the debris in an effort to open up the lane inside. And it's just like, what is it, Obi-Wan? It's like I felt a great disturbance in the force, as though a million basic bitch Beckys cried out in terror and was suddenly silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Oh my
personally
god! Oh, that fireball! Oh no! It should be in my tummy.
I'm personally blaming Magog for this one. He's probably no, he's he used some of his wizard skills. He's like, fireball. Fuck that shit. The next morning, it's nothing but ass rape coming out with the Taco Bell. So he made the trucks collide using his wizard powers.
Taco Bell. Oh my god.
Yeah, Taco Bell and Fireball. Isn't that a pleasant Tuesday morning?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like my whole college experience right there. In a nutshell, yeah, no, Taco Bell and Fireball shits and shame. But still, every now and then, if you want something a little bit different, you get your chicken strips and you get your hard apple cider and a shot of Fireball and you dump it in your hard apple cider and you drink that. It's something that you can drink that's kind of hardcore with somebody who's not used to drinking hardcore. Kinda.
Yeah, and pro tip too, because they did say that they were miniature bottles, so I'm guessing they're like the hotel bar kind of bottles. Pro tip from a convention hotel whore. Drink those bitches, then fill them up from your giant oversized bottle of bottom shelf whiskey and add a teaspoon of cinnamon to confuse the shit out of housekeeping and the next guests.
Or some Red Hots. Red Hots too. Yeah.
I mean, if there's vodka in there too, don't be afraid to replace it with tap water.
We did horrible things to the minibar in Kilroy. We really did. We really did.
I mean, it wasn't. Actually, no, I wouldn't even say. I kind of think it balanced out because somebody left behind. I think, was it Rimshi who left that behind? That like bottle of like kind of upper, like nicer vodka.
He did,
yeah. Yeah, he left that behind. And just to cover my tracks, I refilled the hotel bottles of Deep Eddy vodka, which is it's not bad. This shit was better. I refilled those bitches with that bitch. That way, whoever actually goes in there, if they decide, they're desperate or they're drunk and they throw one of those back, they're almost actually getting the $9 that they're paying for that tiny little bottle.
But the weird thing about the whole Kilroy thing, too, is like when we opened the mini bar, there was already like 3 different bottles that had been opened that they never replaced, and they were like half drank and shit, and we're like,
okay. The hotel bottle.
We're on the honor system.
Yeah, Chardonnay was half gone when I got there.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And everyone might be tempted to say I was the one who drank it, but I could say I did not drink that Chardonnay because I found the fact that it was only half full too funny not to fucking comment on.
Technically speaking, we left the minibar better than we found it. It was a wreck when we got there, and we left it with better alcohol in it. It was Raisu, not Rimshi. It's Raisu.
That's right, Raisu. Sorry about that, Raisu. I keep forgetting because everyone's Raisu, even Rimshi at times. So
it's very confusing.
Yeah, for those who are not familiar, in our Discord the other day, every regular member of it decided that they were going to honor Rimshi while he was
Raisu.
Not Raisu. Yeah, honor Raisu while he was not there. By becoming him. Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
I became Raisu for a while. It's true. Yeah. All right. Before we get Sean on real quick, we got to catch up just a couple more things really super fast. Rhino says, little girl found near Cornsfieldy with her freak on a leash. Oh, you piece of shit. She had no place to hide and some ass itch. That dog has got the life. For anybody who's new to the show,
really well done.
That was pretty good. For anybody who's new to the show, there are a few things that happen now and then. People really like me to read Korn lyrics, the band Korn, because I used to look like the lead singer of Korn. Thank you, Rhino. Fuck you. We need to play Human Fall Flat very soon. Jables Boogly says there's a pre-show after show feud. Breadmaster PBJ can go screw himself. All right. And Rim, she says, if Gator wants to declare war, the pre-show will oblige, but our button is bigger, brighter, red, and actually works. I don't know what the fuck you guys are on about.
No, you know what we're going to have to do, Jeff? We're going to have to do the smart YouTube thing, capitalize upon this feckless and banal animosity between people. We should have our own sports. Saints Sports, yeah.
Saints Sports.
2 shows enter, 1 show leaves.
Okay, okay. I'm feeling. What does this entail? What does this involve? Like, what do we got to do with this?
Oh, we're gonna have to organize it, but we're gonna have to find a way to we're gonna have to bring them all into the stream. You know, we'll stream with them. We'll let them tear each other apart, and then we'll take.
We'll get all the super chats.
We just smash through some super chats, and then
Right.
talk about how much integrity we have. It'd be great.
It's a foolproof plan. It's a foolproof plan. I think instead what we should do is we should get all of them together in real life, convince them to take mind-altering chemicals and play laser tag, and settle this once and for all like men.
High on acid, shooting laser guns at each other.
Or ketamine, whatever.
I'm not fucking. I mean, listen, I'm not throwing shade at that idea at all.
Yeah,
I mean, fuck.
I think it's a good idea.
We'll just give them a bunch of DMT, and they'll just sort through their differences without even picking up a laser gun.
We'll just make sure all of them, before they go into the laser tag arena, they all bring all of their pillows from home. We duct tape them around each other, you know, just in case they go full contact and they're smacking into each other in this mindless parade of ultra violence. They just can't stop screaming and shooting their guns in the air.
JT shows up with a rifle and starts smacking people with the buttstock and shooting people in the kneecaps. Dude, what happened? You were going straight combat. Were you having a flashback? Oh no, man! I thought we were just playing.
Left 4 Dead, real life, bro. Okay. Anyway, so all that aside, I think it's about time we get Sean in. Let's get Sean. Sean.
Yeah.
Sean. Yes,
And
I love Sean.
those who might not be familiar. This is Sean of Mythicist Milwaukee. We got a great chance to hang out with him out in Kilroy. Did his show earlier in the week, and and now hopefully he's got headphones.
Hopefully, we'll see. I mean, whatever. It's fine. We'll figure it out. It's Q. It's not like we're putting on a show. I mean,
What's up, dude?
Hey.
What's up, guys?
Hey, buddy.
I gotta actually pause the other video.
Uh-oh. Why don't I have your video for some reason?
Oh, maybe it's off. Hold on 1 sec.
Skype's being a butthole.
Is that better?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is Sean. Okay, so Sean, the last time that we were hanging out, somebody referred to you as the CEO of Mythicist Milwaukee?
The president. Yeah, president and co-founder, yeah.
Well, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Yeah, it started, and it's funny. It sounds a lot more official and impressive than it really is. Actually, we started as just a shitty Facebook page where we made really terrible memes in PowerPoint because we don't know how to use any of the other, actual programs. So that's where we started. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're no grade A under A, but production quality being what it is. We can make as much fun as. Well, dude, he did the entire thing in MS Paint and Windows Movie Maker.
Okay, that's fair. That's true.
Yeah, 2.5 million channel he just abandoned for being I don't even remember. But we can make fun of him now because he's dead.
Every time I hang out with you guys, though, I always have to expound upon this, how fucking jealous I am that you guys have a legit studio. You have a fixed place where your studio actually exists. Is that in somebody's house, or do you guys rent a space, or what?
Oh, we do 2 things actually. We do have an office space near downtown Milwaukee, but that's not where the studio is. That studio is actually in one of Brian's rooms. We just spent a bunch of money and just kind of redid into a space. He never used it, so.
That's
it's
awesome.
So I mean, yeah, it's a lot like David Pacman except watchable.
Well, I love how everyone always says it looks like a dentist's office because that's exactly what it looks like.
But I think I actually made that joke.
You did.
Coming to you live from the waiting room of my dentist's office.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, shit, if they left the studio for this show up to me, it'd look like we were just sitting at the DMV.
That's pretty. I love your guys' set, by the way. Jesus Christ, it looks like the Late Show with the YouTube Saints.
Yeah, we kind of did the when YouTube live streaming kind of took off and super chats became kind of a thing. Everybody and their fucking mom was just doing whatever kind of show that they wanted to, but they never put any money into it. They never put any heart or soul into it. So we started designing it to be as close as we could to a late night talk show, And what's funny too is the whole like landscape of YouTube about a year and a half ago when we really first started this was very different. So we negotiated our time slot with other dedicated live shows to find
How funny is that? Yeah.
Right. And now nobody gives a fuck. Everybody's out for fucking blood. But the whole reason that we do it at this time slot was just to be chill with everybody else.
Yeah.
And now everybody's just like total assholes about it. We're like, this is our time slot. Fuck you. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny, like how that worked, like with the YouTube live streaming. I've been paying attention for a little over 2 years now. I've really had a lot of catching up to do on YouTube with like Gamergate and all that stuff. When we decided to do MythCon 4, Brian really was the brains behind that, and so like me and Fritz and the rest of the crew, like we had to really like buckle down and start studying, who's who and who likes who and who hates and all that stuff. But it was funny to kind of see the live stream on YouTube. Because like when we first started, we actually started producing a really shitty AM radio station like 6 years ago in Wisconsin, and it was a call-in show. And it was just funny because like a lot of people, call-in shows are dead, this and that. Right. I mean, and it was funny because like we transitioned into podcasting. So we've been podcasting a little over 5 years now. And even then, like podcasting was like, oh, the call-in shows are dead and blah, blah, blah. And now essentially all YouTube live streams really is call-in show that people can kind of interact with. And, it's kind of brilliant going back to that.
Well, it's funny because YouTube like kind of fucked itself in this way because so the super chats were introduced more or less after the adpocalypse, as it's called,
right afterwards.
And because content creators who were making a living doing it suddenly saw all of their revenue disappear, and they're like, well, fuck this noise. So YouTube's like, oh, well, here we'll give you this to make up for it, and this was all really just to avoid promoting hate speech and the like. And then they ended up getting they ended up just basically inspiring a huge series of absolute dog shit fucking like edgy boy sensationalist live streams like, hey, how many times can we reference Jews in this one? All right, hold on, I gotta burn through these super chats before I let you guys just continue running my show for me. That kind of shit. In fact, if you notice, like the bigger live streams too, half the time, like the hosts weren't even doing shit. It was just, hey, I'm going to put on a shit show because I just watched The Greatest Showman Ever, and I kind of think in the right light I look like Hugh Jackman. So let's see how we can put the freaks on display and what kind of money we can make. So, it's an interesting evolution.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like, there's this one really weird taboo I've really noticed, after we were at Kilroy and after I've been watching other people advertising and, essentially making money on YouTube channels. Like, it's this weird taboo around, people are just trying to make money, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the creators, especially the good ones, I mean, look what you guys have set up. There's so much time that goes into this, and it's really strange to me. Like, there's that weird, oh, you guys are just trying to make money. Well, yeah, you need to make money in order to keep in order to keep. No, but it's like in order to keep doing what you do and then invest in other people and invest in other projects that you want to see. You gotta make it. But what I think is even funnier, it's like everyone is like all pissed off at creators and all of that, but YouTube makes 30% off of those super chats. Like,
the super chats,
yeah, that's insane. Like, Patreon only takes, what is it, like 3, 4, 5%. Eventbrite only takes 3%.
Streamlabs,
PayPal only takes like 2% or whatever. YouTube's taking 30%. Where's the outrage?
Well, the thing, I mean, people are pissed, but I mean, also, like, most people, because it's not, it's not like you've got, like, it's not like somebody comes up, hands you $30, and then Susan Wojcicki comes around and punches you in the dick and takes 10 of it and then walks off. Yeah. But I mean, like, the like Streamlabs evolved out of that same thing, just because a lot of, it almost feels like they noticed. So like, hey, who wants to pay 30% to Google? But I mean, on the other side, though, and I'm not absolutely certain about this, but I have heard that, like, even with this and even before this, even when, like, ads were still all over the place, YouTube was still losing money. It was still not profitable.
No, it still is, but I mean, it's a part of the mega giant, which is Google. So I
Yeah.
mean, yes,
And
sometimes
now we all
it's like,
can we all
no,
well,
go ahead.
we're on YouTube right now. Can we all just take a moment to just applaud Jaden Smith for his fucking, what is it, diamond fucking play button? Because I mean,
What?
How can my views numbers be real when my channel ain't even real? Yeah, no, Jaden Smith's YouTube channel is apparently like crested 1 million subscribers. Because that's what YouTube's really going for now too. They're like, hey, broadcast yourself. Just get the fuck out of the way. Jamie Foxx is going to be here any moment.
No, for sure. They're not only doing that. I mean, what they're trying to do is get in the game of Amazon and Hulu and the other content creators, online streamers, and I don't know. I mean, even Facebook's throwing its hat in that world. You're going to start seeing some original programming coming out of Facebook soon. I don't hate it. Again, it's we're a capitalist country. If they can produce some content that people like, more power to them. But when people say YouTube loses money, when you're a part of Google and the amount of assets and capital that company has, I mean, it's like any business owner. Sometimes you keep open certain storefronts, even though they're losing money, only to make sure that you're controlling that part of the market. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't feel bad for YouTube at all.
There's the thing is too, like if you're a creator, largely the success and the failure of your hustle is on whatever it is that you can actually achieve. And a lot of people have a great hustle. Some people have a legendary fucking hustle. Dick Masterson just does a podcast. He just does a fucking podcast. That's it. But if you want to see him, you gotta pay, I think it's like $1 or something like that. But there are so many people who love his podcast. They want to see the video recording of it. And there's so many of them that he makes fucking bank. That's a great fucking hustle. It's incredible. Now, I'm not a guy who watches my analytics. Not really. I don't really usually pay that much attention. As long as my basic needs are met, my kid is taken care of, my bills are paid, I don't usually care that much. There was a period of time a couple of months ago where it was a little hairy, but whatever. It's fixed now. But this month, I randomly was clicking through my YouTube page, and I just randomly glanced at my revenue analytics, and it said a number that I was absolutely shocked to see. And so I went and I looked at it, and I started analyzing it, and I feel like something maybe has actually changed at YouTube, where ad revenue is starting to pay out more than it did the month before and the month before that. I think it's actually starting to happen. And Nick, you should check yours out too.
Oh, I look. I mean, keep in mind, like my views have been all over the place, and they're pretty consistently shit now. Anyway, I mean, I've noticed there does seem to be a slight increase, and then it's funny that
it's slight, but it's happening.
Well, it's funny because this also comes around as the original controversy that those talentless shitheels at the not Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, decided, those up jump blogger cunts who decided they just threw a few darts at a dartboard and said, hey, let's go after YouTube. Yeah, that'll be fun. Fuck it. Hey, PewDiePie's a Nazi. He dropped an N-bomb. Let's ignore all the other guys that did that. We'll look PewDiePie though. But I mean, before then it was funny because the controversy which was stirred up then, which was that like, these ads are showing up on extremist content, right?
Right.
And now we're encountering, in a kind of soft shoe manner, we're kind of getting the reverse of that, where like, what is it, like pride videos are having ads from evangelical anti-gay organizations like before enjoying this pride video, please take a moment to appreciate the sponsor. You can pray the gay away. You can pray that shit straight away. Don't need no juice or cabbage or nothing. All you need is Jesus in your heart. Like, oh boy, you guys, Susan, just retire, Susan. I'm sure you got the money to do it.
Somebody shared this with me. I did a hemlock. Well, excuse me. I gotta maintain my Andy Kaufman-esque illusion here. But Hemlock Moonwolf did a video about Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have gotten several reports from people that Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop brand actually purchased ads on YouTube, and they were playing right before
Did
the
you tag?
Hemlock Moonwolf
Did you put it
Goop
in the
video.
tags?
Yeah,
Did you
well,
put
of
it in the
course. Of course, I put it in the tags. Of course, I did. That's what I'm
Hemlock
talking
put it in
about.
the tags, yeah. Yeah, well, I gotta wonder if maybe like, because I don't know what it's like from an advertiser side, but I have to wonder if maybe when they put their ad out, if they can't offer some of their own SEO tags, and so this like evangelical
Yeah, you
organization.
can't. You can't.
Yeah. Okay, so
You
yeah,
can
they come
target.
around. Yeah, they come around, and all their SEO tags are probably just ripped straight from a Pride video.
Yeah.
Kind of genius for it's
Yeah.
like
When
pretty clever
you
bigoted Christians.
Yeah, we've run a lot of ads on YouTube through Google and different Google Analytic ads or I'm forgetting what they're AdWords. And yeah, you can actually pick what channel, you can pick what topic, you can really target, and that's essentially it's a Facebook model as well. That's their biggest thing. It's like, well, unfortunately, like when you take part in a free thing, like Facebook, you're going to be, unfortunately, advertisers. That's what comes along with it, and yeah, you're going to be targeted by what you like and what you're searching for.
You're a parent? You'll love this ad about dead children killed by vaccines.
Exactly. Jeff's pet peeve.
Oh my god! Don't even get me fucking started on this shit. Oh my god! I really do though have to say a big thank you to you and to all the guys at Mythicist Milwaukee for helping me figure out like the better course to take when I was.
Awesome.
I mean, like you guys really helped me because I was suffering from a huge existential crisis.
We can tell.
This is a guy who hates philosophy.
I absolutely objectively hate philosophy, but I'm sitting at a crossroads of like, am I going to go down the road of like pseudo-authoritarianism where I believe in censorship because it serves for the greater good, or is there a better way to actually fight something? And you guys helped me find that, and I really appreciate it. I will be forever grateful for it. It was really
awesome,
cool.
dude. I'm glad that helped. I mean, yeah, I'll tell you a quick story of like how scary some of the like targeting and all that shit gets. Like I manage Ron Miscavige. He's the father of David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology, and he's left the church after 20 plus years, and he's like speaking out against the church and all of that. So I help. What's that?
Oh, so sorry. I mean, I was just like when you were mentioning that. I don't know if it's Miscavige, but was it Miscavige's kid or was it L. Ron Hubbard's grandson? Is also
grandson.
Yeah, Jamie DeWolf. Yeah, he's fucking like, he like puts on a whole, what is it, like it's a comedy show, isn't it?
Yeah, slam poetry.
No, that's still
slam poetry.
Comical.
Yeah, he's a badass. But yeah, Ron's 82, and so I set up different interviews for him, or I'll set up events for him or whatever. And really nice guy. I mean, like just down to earth. And so I set up the Joe Rogan show, and this is the craziest experience of my life. So, we set up Joe Rogan. It took like about 3 months or so to get it, pushed through, get the date. And, it was, we didn't tell anyone. We were not like, tweeting at Scientology or anyone. We weren't telling, they're not in our network, obviously. And we get there, and the day of when because Joe does a show live, he does it live stream. And so what Scientology, what they did was a couple of things. They got a thing for him to read, like an open letter to Joe Rogan for him to read before the show. So somehow they found out exactly when and how to get a hold of Joe Rogan, which was absolutely insane. And then also they were running these ads defaming Ron, because that's what they do, their fair policy, before Joe's show. So like when you went to go listen live, you would watch these ads of how Ron's a liar and he's a piece of shit and all of this, and it was sponsored by Scientology. It's the scariest shit I've ever seen. I mean, when it comes to like targeting and like being able to figure out where people are, Scientology's one of the masters.
They're incredible at what they do. Holy shit.
Well, there was actually a friend of mine. I mentioned this in a few of my videos, but like way back in the day, I used to like take part in the MySpace political forums.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they were pretty active, and it was funny because like this insanely tight knit community built within it, and, like people of all perspectives. In fact, like within it, like, usually like most of like the smaller friend groups were comprised of people who just loved arguing with each other so much because they have diametrically opposing views. It was a great place. One of our original moderators, a guy who went by the handle Saint Bastard, after MySpace crumbled and we all kept in touch, he did a Reddit AMA, I'm a former Scientologist, ask me anything. And this was a guy, it turned out, we'd never known this because he never told us, but he was raised in the church, right? Like, he was indoctrinated. He was on the, what's the boat? The C-Lab 2020, Sequest DSD.
No, it's the Apollo.
Yeah.
Apollo,
But what is it they call it? Like the Sea Org, right?
The Sea Organization. That's for the leaders of the church. That's the senior management, if you will.
Yeah, but they just shovel people on to like work as crew. Because one interesting thing I learned from him, and actually from my work in sales, because I was doing tech sales for a while, and we had to prospect our own clients. It's business to business shit, and I had the Southwest region, and I'm noticing all the big tech companies, all the big companies you initially think of were already prospected. So I'm like, I'm going to go for the morally bankrupt ones. So first I started going for porn companies, and then I went for cat houses, and they were all really big spenders. But the biggest fish I almost reeled in was the Church of Scientology in San Diego. And what I discovered is the way they staff within the church is they just pull random ass fucking members. Doesn't matter what your background or your experience is. They just throw you into a role. I had this guy, it's a salesman's fucking dream. Cold call this guy and start talking like, we're, just really interested to see if you need any new tech, any networking equipment, maybe monitors, this and that. He starts telling me, we're going to be moving into a new office complex we just bought. I'm like, so what do you think you'd need there? Oh, I think I'll probably just need everything. I'm like, I was fired about a week before I closed the deal. It was a $6.5 million deal, and I would have pulled about an 8% commission on that. Would have been a good day. But all the same, I discovered that, and he was telling me, like, this cat lost, like, what drove him out of the church was ultimately after he did Sea Org and they wouldn't let him leave the boat and all that shit, and he did like 2 years doing that. He ended up being put on this construction crew to gut and refurbish this office space that they'd taken over. And the entire demo crew, none of them had experience. He was working, just pulling down drywall or something like that. This guy down the way slams his hammer into this wall and starts tugging. He didn't know that it was connected to a water pipe, a copper water pipe that had an open open end behind the wall. Fucking pipe comes out and just right into dude's left eye, takes his eye clean out. They refuse to let him go to the hospital.
You can't go to the hospital.
Yeah, well, they were threatening him. They're like, we're going to take your ID and everything. We'll just dump you out. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to the hospital, and I will fucking murder each of you if you try to get in my way as soon as I can get my depth perception back. So I might try to actually pull him into Saints one time or throw him your guys' way. But, yeah, he did a Reddit AMA, and people were asking, like, aren't you afraid of, like, them coming after you for the $1 billion contract you have to sign? And he's like, I work at a Shell station. They can come at me for the $1 billion all they like.
Right? Ooh. No, it's scary. Like Ron, I actually started a YouTube channel for Ron. He does it every Sunday where he brings different guests. A lot of them are out of the Sea Org. And some of the stories that they tell, it's absolutely insane. If you just look up Ron Miscavige and his channel will come up. I think we're like on episode 14. Like some of the stories like you just told, stories of, people just literally being ripped away from their family. It's and you're absolutely right. It's like that. I don't know if you saw the Family Guy where the end of the world happened and like Peter was running the town and you know what I'm talking about. And like one guy's like, I'm a doctor. And like, but to figure out what your job was, you had to pull the card out of the hat. And he's like, oh, I got town clown. He's like, yeah, that's your job. He's like, but I'm a doctor. I could help. Nope, you're the town clown. Like that's kind of how it seems like it's run there, unfortunately.
And the town clown's actually running the church right now.
A chicken in every. The quote was, "A chicken in every pot and a cap in every ass." There you go. That's what it was.
Yeah. By the way, David Miscavige, if you're watching this, we would love for you to sponsor our show. We're we're big fans of your church. It has provided us endless amounts of material. We love you for it. Don't keep doing what you're doing, buddy. It's just not too much, and maybe quit breaking the spirits of young, beautiful women by forcing them on Tom Cruise.
That's fair.
I'm really interested to see what happens. I mean, Danny Masterson is in huge trouble right now. You guys know who that is? He was Hyde on that 70s show. Yeah. So like he actually raped 2 women in Scientology that came forward now, and like they're showcasing how the church covered it up. It's really fucking gruesome. And
wait. He was a Scientologist?
Oh yeah, he still is, man.
Wow. Oh, dude, yeah. Dude, I mean, what is it? Danny Elfman's daughter, Jenna Elfman, hardcore Scientologist. What's her name from Cheers? Christy
Brinkley? Or,
no, it's not Brinkley.
Not Brinkley. Christy.
You know the one.
You're talking about.
The one from Cheers, yeah. Hardcore Scientologist. And it was funny because, like, I'm sure you guys have seen that film Going Clear, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that, like, they describe, like, they're managing...
Christy Alley, yeah. She played Rebecca.
Yeah, they're managing of Tom Cruise though. Like they literally if he doesn't have a celebrity girlfriend or wife, they will just throw whatever beautiful women they can find from the church at him, like keep him happy. Tom, listen, you're gonna hear a bunch of weird shit about the church. Those are just disruptive persons. Don't worry about them. And I guess And there was a point in which he was starting to be like, maybe this is bad. Oh wait, I'm an actor. I can't think that deeply about things.
Yeah. Well, who would really, really be interesting to get her story is what's her name? Nicole Kidman, because she actually had Tom out of the church for 8 years, and it'd be really like they were like Miscavige was just infuriated. Like the whole church was scrambling. Like Ron tells me these stories, and for 8 years he was out, and like Nicole Kidman, that'd be a really interesting. She's never really talked to my knowledge, publicly, but I'm sure she has. Like they would tell me like Ron, like when they had who did he marry? Who did Tom marry after?
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes. Yeah. So Ron did this whole thing where he like wrote a song with Katie Holmes, where she was gonna sing it to Tom Cruise on the Apollo, and it was like this whole thing. And like he would explain to me like when she was around and Tom was around, like they had like 20, 30 Scientologists literally surround them at all times. And make sure, anything they need, they got it for them. Any desire they had, they'd make sure to make it happen. Like it was just like really insane and intense to like hear, like they essentially manufactured friends around them. And like Tom still is in this weird Scientology bubble. Obviously, she's out and Nicole Kidman's out and all that. But, it'd really be interesting to hear what they have to say about it.
Well, they're terrified to talk about it too, which is absolutely bizarre. Real quick, to make sure that we catch up with this, Breadmaster PBJ, well, Jables, it's not my fault the better host isn't on the show anymore. Ouch. This is more infighting with our affiliate shows. Jables says, I'm no stranger to mind-altering drugs. Check out the drug episode of the pre-show. True. Giovanni says, well, Jeff, the reason I stream on Friday nights is because you two do Thursday, Robin Gething does Saturday, you two do Sunday. That leaves Friday.
That's stiff competition right there. Robin Gething, that's the open house. That's some stiff competition.
We're both, despite our better judgment, we're both still friends with Robin Gething.
I like Robin. He's an insufferable cunt, but he's
yes, he is.
It's one of those things I've just known him for too long, and like
he's not the easiest person to be a friend of, but I'm still his friend.
Yeah, it's like whatever differences come up. It's like it's funny because like you can get into a political argument with him, but the most
cunt.
Yeah, well, the most grating thing, but it's also the most helpful thing, is when it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna mate, I want to teach you about how to master your audio or how to work your green screen. It's like, okay, cool, and then after like a 3.5-hour tutorial.
Yeah.
I mean, if you miss things, it's on you. Well, yeah, I mean, Robin's a bit of an insufferable company.
Noble Yeti says, split a beer on at VidCon on me. Have a great time. Hope we get Saints karaoke this time. Maybe. No promises. Maybe. No.
I promise. Absolutely. I
Maybe.
completely promise.
Maybe.
Even if it takes like a full liter of Evan Williams and me agreeing to actually do the Freddie Mercury parts and Under Pressure, we'll get there.
Okay,
I
fair.
can't do
okay.
I can't do
okay,
the
fair.
Freddie Mercury
okay.
parts.
Fair. No, that's
that
fair.
was
that's
the
fair.
promise. That was an example.
That's been like the greatest tension between me and Nick over the years now, because we've been friends for a while, a long time. One of the greatest like struggles that he and I have had is who gets to do the David Bowie part in Under Pressure.
Okay, this must be because I'm kind of still new to being generally sober. So we've had this discussion before.
Many times, actually. Yeah, many times. Yeah, we had it at Kilroy when we were thinking we were going to go to karaoke. We had it a few weeks beforehand. Like, this has been a source of real strife. I'm not surprised you don't remember, and it's fine, but whatever.
Well, it's also, I mean, blocking out, like, you know, like tepidly tiptoeing up the line of saying, like, yeah, I'll do the Freddie parts in Under Pressure. That's a big leap. That's a big leap. That's like shitty Pink doing the national anthem level big leap.
Okay. All right. Giovanna Liviana says, I recommend the new pickle juice slushy. Just beware the sphenopalatine ganglioneuruglia. Oh, wow. Oh, Jesus. Fuck me Christ. I did actually pronounce that right, I think, though. Okay, so Sean.
Yes.
I'm sure you've told this story many times, but so far, in the realm of political discourse that we all live in, everybody wants to make that bridge, that gap between YouTube into real life. And a lot of that is going to be things like conventions or speaking engagements.
Speaking engagements. Talk about my book. Talk about lobsters.
The noble lobsters and Shelley. Okay, but no, but seriously though, you and your team and your buddies like Brian and Dimitri and all the rest of them, you guys have actually made a full-blown successful convention. 4 years now in the running, right?
5 years. This is
5
fifth
years.
year.
This will be the fifth year. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was the genesis of it? What was the thing that really lit a fire under your asses to really make this thing happen, and how did you do it?
Oh, yeah. So it's really interesting. Like, just kind of like with anything with the channel or with whatever your projects are. Like, we've evolved over time, and like initially we started as a group because we became aware of like how mythology, or the mythologies of antiquity have laid such a foundational framework for a lot of the modern day religions that we see today. So it really became really interesting to see where like a lot of this information came from and to tie it back. And so like that ended up with like us traveling to Egypt and Greece and Rome and all around the world to kind of do our own firsthand information, because it's like our firsthand like investigation, because it's like for us it's like, well, we'd rather do something than say we're going to do something, So that's what the mythicist part of our name is. That's the mythicist position, is taking a look at whether or not these supernatural figures of these biblical texts or if the religious texts actually, were truly people, or, did they exist, or was it just all myth? And so as we started doing that information, that's what I was telling you about the shitty memes. Like we would take like a Dionysus story and showcase like how similar that is to like what you'd see of a Jesus story in like the 2nd century, or what, we would see like all these dying and rising gods, or all of these things that really start to look really familiar once you start looking in the right places. So that was our really shitty meme portion of it. But then, and we still have them too. Like they're so bad, but they're funny. But like, oh, my wife hates them. But like, but then like as we went on, we started identifying with the atheist world. Now we kind of came into atheism, organized atheism, like the Dawkins, the Hitchens, those types. Like we came into that world kind of, I always call it the golden age. It was right before it all started falling to shit. And
right before Atheism Plus.
Yes, exactly. Oh, and I got a story to tell you. So like exactly right. And so like it was like for us, it was like we're this like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. We're like, oh, atheism, like we never really called ourselves atheists, but then we started like learning about it, and it started making more sense, and we started becoming more active in it, So we started our own little. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was actually just curious, like in the process of your sort of awareness of it growing. I mean, did you wake up one day and feel the compulsion to go out and buy a fedora, or did it just sort of growing out of your scalp? curious.
No.
I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions.
All right, there we go.
The guy we produced the show for wore a fedora every single day. It's funny. He's like
No.
man. This is so funny.
Well, they're classy hats. Let's be honest.
They
I mean,
kinda are, you know. And,
and also all the douchebags like wearing them, making cliches out of them. They're all wearing Trelbies and they don't know it.
Nothing personal, kid.
It's just funny you say that because like when we started getting into it, it was like we didn't know any of the stigma around it. We didn't know any of like the preconceived notions around it. It was just more interesting for us. And you know, we started with the radio gig, and I started lining up like people like Arn Ra and Matt Delhunty, and kind of like, you know, those.
Did you ever get chives?
We did. We actually have a interview with Shives. I think it's like goes back 4 years. It's still, if you look up MM and Shives, it's there. This, you know, it's like 4 or 5 years ago we did it. But yeah, so we started getting into it, and we were like, okay, so how are we gonna, you know, what are we gonna do? Because it's, you know, a lot of what atheism is, and where any of these things are, is just people meeting up and having donuts and complaining, and it's like, you know, that stuff is not, you know, it's not fun, and it's not really, you know, beneficial to anyone. So
Complaining and donuts sounds awesome to me.
It's like donuts, coffee, complaining. And it's funny, like in atheism too, there's this whole weird stigma about making money in atheism as well. So like that's kind of the same problem in YouTube. And it's like, you know, when we showcase like how expensive things are, it's like you have to have money to do these things, because if you can't do these things. But they hear nonprofit, I think, and they always think we can't make a profit. It's like, no, you should be trying to make a profit and putting that money into other things you want to do. You know, like that. The NFL is a nonprofit.
Well, you know, it's funny.
Right.
You kind of referenced that before. I mean, you kind of referenced the whole stigma around making money, you know, doing things right. And even within nonprofits, and I've like worked with and helped run nonprofits in the past in the PAC sector and shit. Yeah, salaries are always a part of that.
Yeah.
Because people still need to actually dedicate a full week's worth of time to doing it, and so.
And that's the only way you can do it better.
You know, here's something like, and I don't know if you've seen it in that community, but one thing I have noticed in at least like, you know, the YouTube world, you go back to like the era of Gamergate, right? So many of the same people who were shitting all over anyone they could find for, you know, trying to make a living doing what they did, are the same now who are just raking in the fucking dough, hand over fist, while still trying to shit on other people for doing the same. Now, I'd like to offer something real quick, though. This is an epic moment in online atheism, right? So we've all established that there is the atheist fedora, but with the recent debates over atheism versus anti-theism, I would like to propose to offer to the world the anti-theist top hat. That's right.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, tipping this, it's just a tip of the head, because you're not that concerned about showing them any respect.
That's
right.
Fuck those people and everyone who looks like them. Also, Jeff, and Jeff here has the anti-theist compound bow. That's another thing used for hunting true believers.
That's right.
Or porch atheists who actually like dare acknowledge that throughout the course of human history that religion has actually played at least some role in terms of social utility. How dare you?
Well, and that's the interesting thing. Like with our take on it, we were showcasing how the stories have actually been beneficial for humanity. The stories come out of people needing to know when the animals came back, when the harvest came back, when the sun went away, when all of these things were happening scientifically to them. That's why they came up with these stories, so they can pass down this information through the generations. And
Mommy, why is the mountain exploding in fire?
It's because you touch yourself.
No, it's actually because Thor and Loki got into a fight. I mean, this is the way that they would explain things.
Yeah, placeholder answers. They offered placeholder answers for deep questions that would otherwise distract people from doing the work that was required to survive.
Exactly. And so when we get into atheism, there is this weird thing between anti-theist and atheist. And I think Jordan Peterson's he's taking his own little take on it right now, which I think is resonating with a lot more people, because he's not necessarily trying to tear things down. What he's trying to do is say, look, there are things in these stories that you can use, as long as you can know that, there's still myths and things like that. And that's, it's a weird thing with the anti-theist and the atheist. I've always personally been like, you do you, but once that starts affecting others, then we need to have the conversation, So, so I don't know, that's an interesting take right now with like the way Peterson's approaching it, and how some of even the new atheists, we can get into that. Some of the new atheists are a little softer than they used to be, and but anyway, so yes,
get the fucking router with that shot, by the way.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Is there an apple on my head, motherfucker? Does this look like the William Tell show and tell happy fun time flower hour? No, it does not. There's no apple up there. At least I don't think so. I'm hungry.
Yeah, so we got in golden age of atheism. So then we started going to like Aposticon, and we started going to all the different conferences, and we're like, you know what, we can do this shit in Milwaukee too. Let's give it a shot. So like our first one, it was just Richard Carrier, Hemet Meta, and James Kirk Wall, and then like the second one, we actually had Killer Priest with Wu-Tang Clan. We had a bunch of we had David Fitzgerald, a couple other people. And then the third one, we started looking at debates because we started seeing like there was an interest in people debating. And actually, Robert Price and Bart Ehrman debated whether or not Jesus existed at that one. And, after the third one, we started looking around at atheism, and we're just seeing like, there's not a lot of interest in it anymore, to the point where it's like the whole God debates and the topics of atheism, like it's not like it was, go ahead.
The evangelical movement, I mean, it still exists. Yeah, there's a lot of Bible thumpers out there, and you'll see politicians periodically sort of pandering to them in this and that way. But by and large, I mean, it's fading in relevance and strength to the point where, like, the question as to whether or not one, believes in God is it's less of like a hot button sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because I actually kind of like the cooling of tensions in a sense as it was, and the cooling of heads in a way, because I mean one of the best like conversationalists in my area, like a local IRL friend of mine, is this cat named Will. I've streamed with him previously. He was a youth minister before he like got basically laid off because the congregation kept shrinking. And the guy, I mean, he's got his like education in divinity, and I think he's got his master's in philosophy now. But it's funny because initially you'd think like, oh, he's going to be looking into like, the theist philosophers and such. Huge Nietzsche fan, because he finds like, and the discussions of, the merits of religion and such, even leaving out the notions of faith, he's the kind of guy who's like, yeah, well, no, my faith is mine. But I'd love to spend 3 hours just drinking craft beer and arguing with you over, what the merits of religion really are. Yeah. I'm like, that's a good conversation to have.
That is, that's the kind of conversation that I usually like. Well, one thing that I'm always kind of curious about, because a lot of times, even with how much I got involved with YouTube and in certain circles of these, and as familiar as I am with some of the actors inside them, I'm always really confused. Not confused, maybe just like curious about some of these people and some of these personalities. Like Richard Carrier is a really big one too. Mm-hmm. Richard Carrier was a massive heavyweight of the atheists and then atheism plus movement himself.
Correct, yeah.
And he had his Me Too moment and that everything that blew up with him with that. How did you find him as a person? I'm really curious.
Who, Carrier?
Yeah, Carrier.
Oh, he's like one of the nicest guys we've ever met. Like, he actually has been to every single MythCon since the beginning. And This year at MythCon 4, he still holds progressive values, and he still defends the progressiveness, or whatever you want to call it. I think he's a little bit more old school where it comes to wanting to have the conversation. Like, he's going to be on stage having a conversation with Sargon of Akkad this year. And
right.
We're really, really excited about that, because obviously Sargon challenges the progressive viewpoint.
He does?
And, Carrie defends it.
Really?
Sorta.
That's what I was saying. With like MythCon 3, we started looking around and saying, okay, in the West, in the U.S. for sure, especially in the North, I know in the South there's still problems and there's still need for, secular groups to help normalize that. But like for the most part, if you say you're an atheist, nobody's like, well, you're the worst person in the world anymore. So like the interest level in these topics started shifting, and what we started doing is we started, brainstorming and saying, okay, what are people talking about? And, obviously with Trump, we did a debate at MythCon 4 on Islam in the age of Trump, because that was a big trending topic at that time. And, just talking about kind of the difference, the trending topics. And, we could still work in atheism or secularism or religion or whatever in these conversations. We could still look at the foundation. We could still work the foundation in. So like this year, for instance, at MythCon 4, one of our panels is with Armored Skeptic, Allie Jackson, who runs Atheist Republic, Creationist Cat, Vadim Newquist, David Smalley, and Stephen Knight is moderating that one. And that's how has the political climate divided the atheist community. So we're still talking about atheism, but we're also tying in the shit that everyone's talking about, like, right, left, up, down, all that stuff. And we have a panel on, have women achieve gender equality in the US? Yes. One of the
short panel.
Yes.
Right.
No. Well, the people that are on this panel, I know for sure Karen Garst is an atheist. She's a faithless feminist. Karen Strawn, I'm not sure. I'd assume she is, or at least, obviously supportive of secularism. And then Melissa Chen's
Karen's a straight up atheist, if memory serves.
Karen Strawn. Okay, great. And then Melissa Chen, she's a straight up atheist.
Well, also,
Melissa Chen is a fucking rock star. I love Melissa Chen.
Yeah,
be prepared with Karen, though. One thing I know is because and I say this with all love for the honey badgers, because I really do love those people. But yeah, Karen, I've noticed, like, and I think almost all of the badgers are actually atheists. But a lot of it seems to come, like, you'll oftentimes hear about, it comes back to the men's rights side of things, in that religion pedestalizes women in ways that, are unfair to men, this and that.
I'd say the opposite.
Oh, no, it subjugates them, but it's funny because you'll find, like, if you want to see, like, an interesting firestorm of conversations that went on, I think this was earlier this year or last year. The Badgers and the MRAs got in real hard and heavy with those who sought to criticize Islam on the grounds of how it treats women, because their position is that it treats everyone terrible and that more men are usually butchered by it, and so on and so forth.
Right. It's interesting, yeah.
One thing I'm interested to hear about, and I'm kind of more and more, I'm like looking at, actually, especially now that I ride my bike on the highway, I'm thinking like maybe road trip on a motorcycle in September out to Milwaukee. Wait, what am I thinking? But
September's still pretty good out here.
Yeah, well, one thing I've been finding interesting, though, is and you kind of acknowledged, like, the classic sort of evangelical movement in the West, in this country, and typically in the West in general, even though it was like, the evangelicals as we know them were pretty much mostly limited to the U.S. in as far as that cliche. Yeah. I gotta wonder, though, if it's actually not going to see a sort of a rebirth or like reimagining, a reboot in a sense, with this with this like trendy, edgy tradcon Lauren Southern style horse shit we see coming out left and right, where they're like, without Christianity the West will fall. Like,
yeah, well, religion is one of the oldest and most successful chameleons in any culture. It takes form in whatever society dictates it to. So yeah, I totally will see that coming back. It's just going to look a lot different. Even spirituality as a concept, that's thriving right now. And a lot of the religions in the East are really, really successful in the West right now, like Buddhism, or when you look at those, Hinduism.
I've noticed though, with that though, a lot of people seem to be taking that on more philosophically in many senses. Like,
right,
they're either atheist or agnostic, but they embrace like the teachings of Buddhism, or Zen on a philosophical level. Like my friend, my good friend Anna Hada Hearts, I believe she's in the chat right now. Like half of her channel is dedicated to, well, after the shit posts, shit posts aside, half of her channel is dedicated to like examining Buddhist teachings, but the girl's like a staunch atheist. And then you take somebody like Mouthy Buddha, who I think he's agnostic, isn't he? I mean, the guy just seems seems uncertain about everything. So.
I think the most accurate term to describe Matthew Buddha would probably be agnostic. Yeah. I would say that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, and it's funny though, because the resurgence in like the interest in Eastern, philosophy and religion, it seems to be becoming largely more philosophical, and even with Peterson, right? And I'm a big critic of Jordan Peterson on a number of levels. I'm a fan in many ways, and I'm a critic and detractor in many others. But a lot of the way, like most of the times in which most of the ways, unless he's trying to frame it in like the framework of, we need religious institutions to maintain social order so that our young men don't feel like they're just destined to drop loads into used gym socks for the rest of their lives to avoid disappointment. Outside of this kind of shit. Yeah. He usually tends to try and frame his Christian values in a sort of societal philosophical sense of things.
Correct. Yeah. Well, that's what those Eastern religions offer. It's the spirituality without the dogma or the the fundamentalism. But I mean, again, when you start doing the research on Buddhism, Hinduism, I mean, you start seeing, like in Buddhism, the whole thing is to become enlightened, and that's your whole goal in life. You keep being reincarnated until you reach enlightenment, and women cannot reach enlightenment until they die and are resurrected as a man, and then they can become enlightenment. So I mean, there's
or like the Theravada effect.
Is that technically how it's supposed to happen? Like, if you can't attain enlightenment as a woman, you have to wait until you're resurrected as a man? Really?
Originally.
You're bothered by those lady parts.
Yeah, well, there's different sects that believe different things, and obviously the versions that we see in the West of Hinduism and Buddhism are the extreme watered down versions of where the versions where they come from. I mean, if you look at Tibet,
with Buddhism,
there's a huge. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say with Buddhism specifically, and I learned about this when I started in journalism a bit, and I was covering. It's funny because you see reports now, but I was writing about this shit in like 2013. But the Rohingya Muslims in Burma, like when you tell people who are unfamiliar with the story that there are mobs of angry Buddhists led by Buddhist monks who are massacring and razing the villages of peaceful Muslims. Right. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then you look into Buddhism. I mean, like classic Zen tales, or like even more sort of modern ones, like Osho. Yeah, like Osho wrote about No Water, No Moon, and it was about a water maiden who found enlightenment when the bottom of her bucket dropped out. But here in the West, we get the Zen Buddhism, we get the Tibetan Buddhism, which is about peace and love. And then you look at a lot of shit, and they're like, burn it all down.
With Tibetan Buddhism, there's a huge problem with them covering up child rapes. They're constantly raping children in Tibet, and it's one of these things that it's like kind of like the Catholic Church, where no one talks about it until it affects them, unfortunately. But so yeah, obviously, I don't agree with Peterson that we need these institutions. That I think we've evolved past them. I think people can have the spiritual lens if they wish, but unfortunately, you see the pattern constantly repeat. As soon as you create a religion out of something, it is utilized, and it is the power corrupts aspect comes out of it.
Well, Tibet is one of the most amazing examples of like westernized fetishization over a religious doctrine I've ever fucking heard of. Like, it is absolutely mind fucking blowing when you actually learn about what pre-occupation Tibet was actually like. It was a stern theocracy. There was the class struggle between them was amazing. They had a huge percentage of their population that was nothing but serfs. Inside these holy temples, which is the religious caste, which is an elite that has overwhelming majority control and overwhelming oppressive domination over the rest of the population. Yeah, they had these chambers for punishment where they could like tug the eyes out of the serfs for the most minor fucking offenses. It was a brutal theocracy. It was horrible.
What else is that? What else does that sound like?
Well, it sounds like Mongolia.
Or Christianity.
Or certain eras of Christianity, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's the tenets of faith. And actually, I recorded a video today that I'm going to be editing and posting tomorrow, I believe, comparing and contrasting ideology to religion, right? Mm-hmm. And it really does seem as though once you sort of institutionalize or semi-institutionalize an idea, then you basically, like, your whole game then is to hook people on this idea, and nothing hooks people more than if you don't believe this way, you are in for an eternity of suffering. And then you're just like, well, now you need to let me get away with whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and the inane shit and the backwards thinking, which comes out of these institutionalized schools of thought that are, you know, the people aren't just offered. They're told, if you do not think this way, you hate freedom, you hate America, you hate the gays, you hate God.
Yeah.
And to see, like, I mean, I'm not remotely surprised to hear, and I'm probably gonna look this up now, but I'm kind of curious to find out what the you know, the old world Mongolian influence in Tibet might have been. Just because, yeah, I mean, Mongolia, like, you know, at the height of its empire, was pretty fucking brutal. It was sort of like the Asian version of the Spartans in a sense. Well, it's like, what's your society about?
Or Christianity under the rule of Constantine and his successors. I mean, the creation of the Catholic Church is absolutely insane. But I mean, you know, so obviously we can have these conversations by having other conversations. And the one, you know, I'm really excited about, in Milwaukee, it's the most segregated city in the nation. So it means, you know, white people have their own areas, Mexicans or Hispanics are in their own areas, black people are in their own areas, and there's this real problem.
Around the A.O. Smith factory, if I recall.
Yeah, you were here. You remember just how segregated
I was organizing in those neighborhoods.
I know, man, and it's really sad. And like it's interesting. Like when we look at conferences, we're actually going to have a conference that takes on the topic of race. So we have Derek Blackman talking to, he's some black guy, talking to Marissa Janae Johnson on the impact of social justice activism in the African American community, and that's moderated by Brittany Simon. But Marissa, evangelical Christian, Derek, atheist. So like there's still eventually, I'm sure religion is going to be one of the topics that they discuss in that, you know. So I think there's different ways of doing this, and you know, like the atheist community as a whole needs to start, you know, instead, because like with MythCon 4, we've been blackballed. We were kicked out of the atheist community. We're Nazis. We're rape apologists. We're all this shit.
Isn't everybody?
Everything Steve Shives could throw at you.
Exactly. Well, him and others. I mean, there's just a time. Even Dillahunty came after us.
Yeah. With Dillahunty.
Andrews and well, I'm just saying when you talk about the atheists, I mean, Arn Ra. You know, like these the people that we started partnering with. Early on, actually, like, have turned their back on us and, you know, called us the worst.
Rebecca Watson reads the press release for MythCon 4. She's like, none of this is about me.
Yeah.
This is rape apology.
Yeah, but I mean, it's and the other.
I hate that woman.
We have no issues working with critics. You know, like this year we have the What is the Impact of Intersectionality panel. That's Peter Boghossian, Clay Rutledge, and James Lindsay. But we just announced Music Man Michael Rowlands to be on that panel.
Sweet. That's awesome.
You know, yeah, David Smalley's actually moderating that one too. But and we're also looking at some other people like, you know, Michael Rowlands obviously been a huge critic of us in the past, like last year, and we have no issues. I mean, like, you know, we understand that you know, change is scary and people like to jump on bandwagons and stuff, but like we, you know, having him come and share his opinion is like really important because we're all about viewpoint diversity with this conference. And you know, like it was just really sad to see the way the atheist community just like reacted, and they're slowly they're dying. I mean, what is coming out of atheism that's like really exciting these days?
Well, let me offer you just like
Logic.
two Logic, yeah.
Okay.
Logic. It's great.
And cool hard Logic too is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, cool hard Logic is great too.
Like two things. First,
YouTube.
Yeah. This is the world we live in. First, though,
well, but we couldn't have YouTubers. That was the whole thing. That's
I know.
When you encounter Mikey Rowlands, I need you to let him know that he and we've still got some genital jousting to get done on Twitch.
Okay.
Somebody bought me a copy of Genital Jousting, the game, and said, "This is for you and Mikey Rowlands," and he's like, "I'm down." Well, the other thing though is like, you know, What?
I don't know what this thing is, but
it's a game.
It's a computer game. It's just
it's a computer game where like you're a wiggling dick with a butthole in the bottom of your scrot, and your goal is to basically
you gotta fuck the other dude
opponent.
before he fucks you.
Yeah,
wow.
Very wiggly and slippery. It's pretty great. It's awesome. It's a great game.
Yeah, but the other thing though is like you referenced the atheist community, and we saw the split with Atheism Plus, and there is something to be said about social justice ideology trying to infect and take over by force in many ways. Different communities that they observe. We've seen it with gaming. We've seen it with tabletop. We've seen it. They tried with metal. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that game, but the other side to it too, though, is that I think it's important to recognize the sort of the half-life, the utilitarian half-life of a community itself. Gamergate was a great example. The anti-SJW scene in general, because I mean, just at the end of mostly like towards like the beginning of the fall last year, especially. Consensus was the shit was dead. Yeah, you can throw a fucking, you can throw whatever nice piece of, fan art you got up over, as an avatar, and you can bash social justice all day, but it's stale. People really aren't going for it, and everybody's already kind of got the message. Mainstream media is already reporting on how wacky many of the universities are being. And in the same respect, the atheist community formed up to advance the notions of questioning the established orthodoxies of religion and belief in God and belief in myths. And now that is so widespread, it seems, that the need for a community to advance it, I think, is withered away.
Well, I think, but a lot of people like to blame SJWs or whatever for atheism falling apart. See, when you bring in different ideologies, great. Because then you can actually challenge those things.
I'm just talking entropy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard this a lot, and I see. Okay, yeah. So there are some social justice warriors. There's some anti-social justice warriors as well. Like, yes, when we brought Sargon last year, that was like a huge thing because people freaked out. But also, the other problem that atheism has, and you're starting to see their leaders or whatever you want to call them finally starting to figure it out, is like you said, they've essentially put themselves out of a job. We've had so much success that they've put themselves out of a job. But now you have to get creative. If you want to continue to do this type of thing, you have to look at new, innovative ways to get the same message out there and keep it entertaining.
Islam.
Yeah. but no, it'd be more like Scientology or Mormonism. But no, they really have no imagination, and they really scoff at anything that's different. And that's going to be, unfortunately, like I said, that's going to be the reason they eventually, go away, or it becomes less of a thing because,
I have a theory about how this whole big split happened, because I've been paying attention for quite a while. I was in a very different genre than like the Gamergate. I wasn't around for Gamergate. Didn't really pay that much attention. I was in a very different genre of the internet when a lot of the Atheism Plus started to fracture and things started to fall apart. But I was paying attention because I was in the science communicator community, especially on Facebook. And I got to kind of see like an unfiltered, outside of YouTube, outside of Twitter kind of viewpoint of what happened. And I could tell you exactly what the genesis of this whole fucking split happened. I know exactly where this whole thing happened. Where that definitive line was drawn in the fucking sand. It was Elevator Gate. For those who are not aware, Elevator Gate was a moment at a skeptical convention where Rebecca Watson was in an elevator, and a young man made some advances towards her. He
asked her if she wanted to have coffee.
Yeah, I know. He asked her the most inane, innocent fucking
True
pickup.
Fedora tipper pickup line.
Right. It was nothing. But she wrote the most scathing fucking article about how this was an example. I don't know if she was toxic masculinity, but that's basically what she was saying. But she wrote this huge thing, and the problem wasn't that she wrote it, because it was just on her blog. She was just bitching. No big fucking deal. The problem wasn't that she wrote it. The problem was that all of these fucking limp-wristed fuckholes decided to reblog it and share it fucking everywhere, and then it provoked a response from none other.
There was more than that. There was more than that.
Hang on. No, from none other. It provoked a response from none other than Richard fucking Dawkins.
Yeah.
And Richard Dawkins was like, Are you fucking serious right now?
He wrote that letter, Dear Muslimina, I'm so sorry you're oppressed.
Shattered. Everything was shattered at that point. Everything completely fell to shit.
No, you missed a step. You missed a step though, because the day after the terrifying near rape experience in that elevator, where she might have had to choose between regular and hazelnut. The next day, she went up on stage and delivered a talk where she basically scrapped a portion of her talk and said, "This happened.
That's right.
Don't be that guy." Yeah. Don't be that guy who is impressed and attracted to a notable woman with a lot to say. Be that guy who just goes for the dumb the dumb basic bitch Becky's, because that's that's what you're expected to be. But yeah, then Dawkins penned Dear Muslimina, and everything flamed up from there. And that was shortly before Gamergate. And I found that out by actually watching Thunderfoot's breakdown of that. But when it comes to the entropy of communities, even, let's say, right? So the anti-SJW movement, bashing feminism, bashing social justice, calling it out for trying to take over communities that had no interest in adopting its ideology. That was a binding factor for a lot of people. And then look what happened. Loads of people who were otherwise fans of Thunderfoot turned on him because him and Sargon had an honest disagreement about Brexit. And all of a sudden, the community was split, even though between the two of them, Sargon shit on him.
It started with that, and then it went further with the skeptical feminist murder. Yeah, that was the big split. The big split was when the skeptical feminist decided to go fucking Call of Duty on one of his fucking girlfriends.
Murk out his girlfriend, and then some edgy boys decided to make some edgy jokes about it.
Made some edgy jokes, and Sargon got
was that Russian Deadpool? I was told that was...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but see, what you guys are talking about, yes, the Watson thing and Elevator Gate, that definitely affected. So the way atheism has always worked, and this is the weird thing, there was the atheist community, which was the conference community, the podcasters, things like that. And then there was always the YouTube community, the, Thunderfoots, the Sargons, Armored Skeptics, but so it was because I didn't understand this other YouTube side of it, because we were so drenched in this other community, learning who they are and working with them on stuff. And then when we start to see this YouTube community, we're like, holy fuck, why, there's all these people, they're doing such a great job, they're kind of doing the same thing, why not bring them in? So that's where MythCon 4 really last year really freaked people out, because for whatever reason there was this taboo of inviting the YouTubers in, as if that's some big thing. And that's what I was saying, the atheists, the organized community is what I'm talking about, the Dillahunties, the Araz, those guys. They don't understand how to innovate, and it's really, really upsetting. I got into a huge like what you guys are saying with Elevator Gate or with MythCon or whatever. Anytime things fall apart, you can rebuild them in a different way, and that's where the innovation comes in, and that's where you need to have people with creativity on board. And that's one thing that's sorely lacking. We got into a huge argument with Dillahunty at the last American Atheist Conference that we went to last year before MythCon, where they invited Tommy O'Haver. He's the guy, the director that created The Most Hated Woman in America. It's about Madalyn Murray O'Hare's life, the founder of American Atheists. And, Silverman, when he was there, invited Tommy in, and Tommy invited Brian and I, because he's friends with us, and he's like, I've never been to one of these things, you guys should come. We're like, of course, we'll go. And so they literally invited Tommy in for the original board members that were around when she was alive to crucify him on stage, call him a liar, a piece of shit. Wow. Dillahunty was playing him in the audience, calling him a liar. These board members from American Atheists were just, you're full of shit and blah, 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 and this and that. Why didn't you reach out to us before you made this movie? And he's like, it was so funny. He goes, actually, I did 5 times. I did reach out, guys. I'm just gonna interrupt you real quick to say that when you said that the idea was to crucify him on stage, I was thinking it would be a performance piece, and it'd be like, hey, let's go get hammered. That's not what I meant. Yeah, he actually called himself the atheist Jesus. It was hilarious.
Well,
Because
you mentioned
he was there just to get hammered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's the point of cons a lot. But here, we got a format to appease because even though there might not be a god, there is still the god of the format. Praise be the format.
Well, I mean, Nick, you'll appreciate this because you're in the entertainment world and you see how important entertainment is. Still is in modeling society and changing people's perspectives. Like, this movie was released on Netflix. And, when you have a movie about atheism released on Netflix, that's a net good. And, when Tommy was there, they treated him like shit. They essentially, he had to leave the stage. It got so bad. And, Silverman was a part of it. They're all a part of this. He was tricked there. He said, hey, we're going to have you come. We're going to showcase. We're going to show the whole movie. And we're going to take the Q&A at the end. He was never told that these board members are going to shit on him. They changed it from showing the whole movie to just clips of the movie, like the worst parts. And, Tommy based his movie off of biographies that was written about her. So it's not like he was making this shit up. And he could have put a lot worse things in there to make her look like they said he made her look terrible. I disagree. But he could have made her look real terrible. I mean, there's shit like she was taking American Atheist money to pay a spiritual advisor, what?
What? What?
Yeah, he was an ex-reverend that turned into a spiritual advisor. So she was taking money out of an American Atheist to pay the spiritual advisor. And there's just like loads of these stories that he could have put in there. But no, he made her look like a troubled hero that ultimately had this terrible ending. And, it was so fun. We got into an argument with Dillahunty, and he's like, this put atheism back into the 1990s. We're like, what the fuck is this guy? What are you talking about? Like, me and Brian literally stopped him because he was going to harass Tommy. And this is, Matt was going to be at MythCon 4, which he still came. So, it was like a weird position for us because we had all these people that were supposed to be at MythCon 4 that, we're now defending Tommy in front of. They already hate us because Sargon's coming. Now we're defending Tommy O'Haver, which is like the devil in their eyes too. So we're like, oh shit. So we're like, Matt, what do you thought? Oh, he lied. He made all this shit up. Blah blah blah. And we're like, look, he told you. He took the shit out of the books that were written about here. He's like, why didn't he ever contact us? He said he contacted you guys 5 times because Matt's on the board of American Atheists, and he goes, oh, I can't believe that. He's like, if he would have emailed us, we would have responded. I said, Matt, I've emailed American Atheists like 6 times when we first started our organization. We never got one email back from you guys, and just shit like that constantly. And
I know that feel, bro. I know that feel.
And he was just so emotional. Like, his arguments are terrible. For someone that's really good at debate, like, it was all emotions, and he was so pissed. And it was so funny. See, here's the kicker. This is what really upsets me. He got done off his high horse, and Andrews and all them, they all got done. And Tommy, we just hung out for the rest of the time, whatever, kept Tommy away from everyone essentially. No one talked to him. Like, none of their people there talked to him. The only person that actually came up to him was one of their organizers, and I'm forgetting her name right now, but she was really nice, and she's been with them for a while, and I got to talking to her one-on-one, and I was like, hey, everyone seemed really upset about this movie, and it seemed like it really hurt your organization. What do you think about that? And she's like, hurt our organization? She goes, we got a ton of donations after that movie was released. Like, we've never seen the amount of donations that we got. And I was like, oh, interesting. So this movie did help the organization, huh? And she's like, absolutely. Like, this was amazing. So it was just so funny seeing, like, this is what I'm talking about with this whole community. It's like they're so against forward thinking and innovation and thinking outside the box. It's the weirdest shit. We're supposed to be the people that are creative and ask the right questions.
I'll say this, and then we've got to move on to the next segment.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I'll say this much. Welcome to the world of organizing, my dude.
Yeah.
I did it.
That's wild.
I did this shit in the political world for long enough to, like, everything you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, yep.
But that's what I'm saying is, if they don't change their tactics, if they don't change the way that they do things,
it's gonna go the way of Acorn.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere, and that's just one of the things that we're trying to say.
All right.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring it back up because you mentioned podcasters, you mentioned people.
Giovanna Liviana saying, I recommend the new pickled juice. Oh, no, okay. I mispronounced Jeff. Try again. Sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia. It's a scientific name for brain fees. Okay. Fuck my ass. I'm sorry I got that wrong. Jables Bugley, even my girlfriend gets me on about my atheism, though. That's fair. That's okay. And for those who are wondering my antics that I was doing while we've been hanging out and talking, yes, I did actually fire an arrow with a very powerful compound bow. In my garage, I did. I will show you. This is my wall, and that is the arrow that is actually sticking through my garage out into the yard. Actually, went all the way through. And there's my unicycle.
Had himself a little bit of an Elvis moment there.
I did. I don't know, man. I just do weird shit sometimes. But I'm really proud of that unicycle.
Just catching it on the stream now, actually.
I really like my unicycle a lot, actually. It's really cool. But anyway, okay, all right. So, but Sean, we got to ask you some serious questions, though. So we asked you for your undersubbed of the week. You chose Godless Spellchecker. So why is Godless Spellchecker your undersubbed of the week?
So Stephen Knight actually runs the channel, and he's out of the UK, and the interviews that he gets are unbelievable. I mean, some of the people he gets on his show are just absolutely fascinating, scholars or activists or whatever. And
Stephen, I'm available.
And in the UK right now, like radicalized Islamicism is on the rise, and that's. And they're also really with this, they have this challenge with free speech and things that you can say and can't say, and this like creeping, radicalism that's happening. So it's like a interesting situation. And so, to see him continue to do what he's doing, he's been doing it for years. His podcast has been on iTunes for years. He's just kind of moved over into the YouTube sphere as maybe like 8 months ago or so. So
did you see the link that we posted in the Skype chat, the MyCircle link?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure you have that open, and that way we'll all be synced and we can all watch the video together.
And I'll say for my part, I was actually familiar with this cat before. So when you nominated him, recommended him, I was very happy because this is the only person more than myself I've seen take such an interest in our dear friend, Comrade Starbucks, # Comrade Starbucks. That is none other than the Michelin Man impersonator with the Communist Manifesto tucked under his flabby arm, Dan Arrow. And I love
Comrade Starbucks!
Comrade Starbucks! All hail!
Woo!
Yeah, the man who fights for workers' rights but has never been a worker and has never organized a union. Love you, Dan. Can't wait until you unblock me so we can have more fun conversations.
Oh, I fucking hate that piece of shit.
Yeah, I thought he left Twitter. Now he's back on Twitter. He's like the Roseanne Barr of.
Well, I mean, how's he gonna push his book about how to raise like healthy atheist, feminist, self-hating boys?
I don't know.
He slipped the atheist bit in there to make sure it was extra woke.
Yeah.
All right. So we picked the video Night Tube. Why did this British man join ISIS? It's a mystery. Let's check it out.
Yeah, over a minute.
Okay, cool.
Welcome to the Night Tube. I'm Stephen Knight, and I'd like to speak to you about a video interview I've just watched with a captured British ISIS fighter. This is El Shafi El Sheikh. He's part of the notorious Beatles ISIS cell. He was dubbed as such because of their British accents. Amongst their number was Jihadi John Mohammed Emwazi. You may have seen him in such internet classics as Lop the Head Off the Aid Worker. Much preferred the follow-up, Emwazi versus Drone. Spoiler alert, the drone won. This interview with El Shafi El Sheikh was conducted by a journalist called Jenna Newson. It's a fantastic piece of work, so make sure you follow her on Twitter. But it's instructive for a number of reasons. First of all, the mainstream media is committed to this idea that it's a fucking mystery why somebody from the West would want to join an Islamic death cult. Or even when they're not pretending it's a mystery, they're telling us it's down to disenfranchisement, Islamophobia, Western foreign policy, mental health issues, lack of intelligence. Maybe they took a holiday to Turkey and just fucking tripped over the border, and before they knew it, they were in the Beatles. Yet despite...
Ooh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good.
This is spicy. I like this. I like spicy. This
I
is good
love
shit.
that line. I love that line. Oh, I much prefer the follow-up. Jihadi John versus the drone. Spoiler alert, the drone wins.
Like this commitment to pretending not to know what the inspiration for joining ISIS is, those who actually join ISIS will not shut up about their reasons. Take ISIS's official propaganda magazine, Dabiq, for example, and if I get arrested for downloading this, you're my alibi. They're kind enough to provide us in this magazine with a handy numerical list of all their reasons under the incredibly ambiguous title of Why We Hate You and Why We Fight You. In at number 1, we hate you first and foremost because you are disbelievers. You reject the oneness of Allah, whether you realize it or not. In at number 2, we hate you because your secular liberal societies permit the very things that Allah has prohibited while banning many of the things he has permitted. In at number 3, in the case of the atheist fringe, we hate you and wage war against you because you disbelieve in the existence of your Lord and Creator.
Okay,
You let ladies show off their feet, and you don't let us fuck little boys in makeup.
Wow.
Allahu Akbar, everybody. Aloha, Snakbar.
Okay, so this is something that I've actually kind of noticed is unfortunately really lacking lately in YouTube. There is a distinct lack, and why I'm really happy to hear about this guy's YouTube channel. There's a distinct lack of people who have the balls to be very critical of Islam right now. There really is. A lot of people are scared.
Especially in the UK, shit.
Yeah. Hugely so. Yeah. And I mean, like, because the thing that's always going to be the problem, what everybody's always going to be afraid of, is like, if you criticize Islam, then you can be automatically labeled an Islamophobe, which doesn't necessarily actually mean the case. You might not hate Muslims, you might just hate what Islam itself can actually do. Same thing as anybody having, like, criticisms of authoritarian Christian doctrine. Doesn't mean you hate Christians. It just means you hate what can come out of authoritarian Christian.
It's a little different in the U.S. though. I mean, Islam is practiced differently. I mean, it's a little more enlightened, if you will. But in the UK, I mean, they subscribe still to. They've allowed Sharia courts to make decisions on people's, like whether or not a woman keeps a child, whether or not a woman can get divorced, whether or not a woman even has rights or is a human. I mean, the Sharia courts thing is very scary.
I'd say with that too. Well, I'd say part of that, and there's two sides to this element to the thing, is that, I mean, so the prevailing attitude, the progressive prevailing attitude in the UK largely seems to be like, bring your culture here and continue practicing your culture exactly as you did before. Whereas the US, we're like, anybody can come here except Mexicans, and but when you come here, I'm just channeling the modern spirit of our age, unfortunately. But I mean, the notion is though is that when you come to the U.S., the notion is oftentimes that, like, come to the U.S., bring your culture, but if any of it conflicts with the kind of shit we're doing, drop that shit like a fucking hot rock.
Well,
well, I mean, it's not universal. Yeah, it's muddier than that. But the other side, like the sort of darker and more inverse side about that paradigm, is especially within the UK, because they've made such a taboo of criticizing Islam. Yeah. That a lot of very let's just say flat out, like, disingenuous bad actors are really filling that void right now. Looking like, oh, you have these problems with Islam, so do I, but you know what else would fix this? A fucking ethno-state. Yeah, that's it. And we're not allowed to talk about this. And a bunch of feckless shitheels, whether they're saying it outright or whether they're just sort of like laying it between the lines in their hopes to appear like edgy nationalists, are they're filling that void, which honestly ought to be filled entirely by, it ought to be filled by Count Dankula as though it was the ass of a trap. Mm-hmm. Boom.
Well, I would say that the U.S. has an advantage because one of our strongest characteristics is our culture and how our culture affects other cultures around the world. And so when people do come here, first generation immigrants come here, they want to take a part of the American dream. They want to, they will show, change their culture to kind of mirror what the American version would be and become more enlightened. That's why you see Islam, I mean, Jesus Christ! If you see the way Islam's being advertised in the Midwest, there's books out there, there's pamphlets they hand out, and they say, "Oh, Islam is the most feminist religion because it's the only one of the Abrahamic faiths." They don't say that, but it's the only one that has a book that is dedicated to a woman, which is Mary. So they literally see, you know, like what is important to the Americans, and they try to again become that chameleon and change their marketing to make sure that fits.
Well, there's also the allure of America, and this is, I mean, like, you know, we even saw this, like, you know, certain like jihadis who've infiltrated the states in the past were found to have been like, as soon as they had the opportunity to enjoy liquor and women and nightlife and the shit, they couldn't get enough of it. And I think to a certain extent, like, that is part of the virtue to American culture. There's plenty of criticisms to go around about it, but it's that, like, you know, if you come from a place that is inherently repressive and you bring your repressive culture with you and you try and hold on to it and you're like, yeah, I'm still all about this, but fuck me, I love me a bacon cheeseburger, you know?
Yeah.
These kind of things.
I love jeans, or I love exactly.
Yeah, I love jeans, or I like looking at women dressing as they please because they look good doing it, and I like looking at it.
I like your pants, Herr Strauss.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and it's one of those kinds of things, and within the UK, it really does seem like, you know, they give them the opportunity to create enclaves, and they give them the opportunity to colonize what they do.
Well, yeah, because
and they encourage them to like bring your backwards fucking Iron Age culture here and pretend that it still makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's a very stoic like way of handling it, and also
very British.
The UK right now is just the UK is essentially is really jealous of our freedom of speech. I mean, whether you like Tommy Robinson or not, you know, like I don't have an opinion on the guy. I know he's said some things in the past, but that's you should be able, if your ideology, if your religion or whatever is the right one, it should be able to be held up to scrutiny, and it doesn't matter where that's coming from. And that's one of the things the UK offers, is this protection from things that people say, and that should not be a protection in my opinion. So that's going to breed more radical.
And Islam never picked up the trick that my people, the Jews, we figured out long ago. It's like when people are criticizing the philosophy, the religion, the practice, like, you just, I'm sorry, you just don't understand. It's fine, but you just don't get it. I mean, consider this though, and it's a funny thing when you consider the graduation of Abrahamic faiths and how like they've evolved. Judaism was and still in some many ways still is as bad as any of the others. But when you take what the mainstream is though, right? We take the mainstream, and you find like you know, like, I mean, shit. I was put through Hebrew school, and I told my rabbi, listen, I don't believe in God, and I think this is a bunch of like, you know, ancient like mythological shit. And he's like, oh well. Shit, go. What are you doing this for? Go, get out of here. Go figure it out. And when you think you have ideas, come back. But I mean, you know, Christianity, it's not crusading anymore. Right. They're like, oh, well, you know, Jesus is about love. Try and be about, that's great. I'm not a hippie. What are you talking about? Yeah. Neither was he. Yeah. And then you get Islam, and they haven't, like, you know, they've been so encouraged to just be their purest, most orthodox selves that they've never had an opportunity. It's almost like they've never been forced into the opportunity of like, hey, you want to hold on to this shit?
Yeah.
21st century is pretty great, bro.
Yeah. Well, like when I was in Egypt, they play the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's the first thing that newborns hear. I mean, when you talk about indoctrination, you have to, you know, it's a point of pride to memorize the Quran and be able to recite it back. I mean, there are certain things in place in Islam that make people more fundamentalist. They make them more closer to the faith, and even moderate Muslims look way more religious than you would see someone practicing Judaism in the U.S. Like Judaism,
most American Jews are like atheists who are just like,
that's what I'm saying.
I like bagels and lox.
Exactly, and so there's a different way that Islam is practiced right now, and that's, you know,
It's funny too, though, because you can actually kind of see between the faiths, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. You can actually look just to the conversion rituals as to how eager they are to get more people to back them up. With Judaism, if you want to be a Jew, you have to go through a fuck ton of studies and like learn a bunch of fucking Hebrew and all this other horse shit, all these fucking hoops you got to jump through. With Christianity, you got to go through a few hoops. There's some ceremonies and shit, and you got to profess your love for Christ. And then with Islam, all you have to do is say in earnest in Arabic, "I am a Muslim."
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, like, all of the religions obviously were bred out of a world that was extremely violent and chaotic, but Islam was especially it was a reaction to Christianity. It used all of the heretical texts out of Christianity that essentially became this warrior religion that says if you're not with us, you're against us. I mean, look in the Quran, look what they say what to do to those that don't believe. And it created this nationalist, like, common enemy. If they're not with us, they're against us type of thing. And it's unfortunately, it's like one of those things that's hard to break out of, you know, when you see like, religion always offers people this I'm better than you, I can judge you, I have something that you don't, I'm looking down on you, you know, and that's where a lot of the early
no, that plus, but you can be better.
Yeah,
I can help you get better.
Well, but that's the thing. In Islam, that's not necessarily the case. They're not really trying to. They're like historically, we're not trying to get converts that way. In a lot of cases, they would by the sword could force people to convert. But I mean, you know, like neither here nor there. When you have such an identity that is Islam, that is such a strong, passionate, like really like staunch identity that is Islam, like it's hard for those to break out of it, because once you know, do you ask your parents, oh well, did Allah really do this? Because you know what the answer is going to be. We actually did some interviews with people in Hamtramck, Michigan. It was like one of our earliest documentaries, and we were studying, like, because Hamtramck, Michigan, it's like 60% Islamic or 60% Muslims in that community. And
how close is it to Dearborn? Dearborn.
Yeah, Dearborn. Yeah, right next to it too. Right, and and in Hamtramck they actually do the Muslim call of prayer in the public airspace. It's a really interesting dynamic because it was historically in the 80s it was Catholic Polish people, like the Pope visited there and everything, and like over time it's transitioned to this like Islamic area, and it's just interesting like seeing just how they identify with being Islamic, like you would identify as whatever your identity is, man, whatever.
One of the things that bothers me about the whole issue, like when it comes to secularism, when it comes to atheism, when it comes to like giving equal airtime to various different religions, like it's fine, it's totally fine. I am a pragmatist. I am a hardcore pragmatist at my very core of being. And part of being a pragmatist is I have to be objective. I have to be willing to allow for these types of ideas to be expressed towards me and state their best case scenarios, and I can judge them equally on their own merits. The things where all of this starts to break down societally, where everything starts to completely fucking collapse, is when you have an artificial system based upon politics that takes these different ideas and says one has to be protected versus the other. That's when things start to really become a fucking problem. If you want to say, hey, here's an idea. It's born out of this Abrahamic religion, but ultimately it comes from a radical divergence. It's based upon Islam and the worship of Allah, and we have a very specific offshoot of our own doctrines, our own beliefs, our own laws, and it's called Sharia. Okay, fine. Yep. Okay. I can look at that objectively as a human being, as a pragmatist, and see what I believe is going to be a net benefit to society, a net benefit to me, net benefit to my family, and then to my culture as I understand it. And so I have the ability as a rational human being to judge those things. The problem is, and it's the same with Islam, it's the same with Christianity, it's the same with even just secularism, because secularism has its own set of strictures as well, even though there are weird splitter sections that get involved in socio-political shit. The elevator rape, whatever. But that kind of shit. The thing is that when these artificial roadblocks are put into place, when these artificial allowances for these things to be stated beyond the measure of rationalism, where we have to treat certain things with kid gloves is when things really start to break down. If we're going to be objective, if we're going to be a pragmatic, rational, progressive society moving towards a bigger and brighter future, we have to have the courage to analyze all of these things equally without the actual political pressure of whatever dog shit ideology, political bleh, to try and say, no, actually, you need to think that Islam is judged a little bit less harsh than you judge everything else. Go eat shit. Fuck you. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Set yourself on fire. Fuck off. I don't care. I can't handle it, dude. I can't.
Well, on that note, and speaking of having to look at, dog shit perpetuated by what is ultimately stupid, dogmatic people who think they know what's best.
Scientology is still worse than Islam.
I would agree.
Yes! Yes!
Well, science. I would agree. I would agree. But not historically, obviously.
No, not obviously not historically.
Yeah, I mean, when Scientology knocks down a building, it's usually because they just sent a bunch of their rank and file members.
Islam has a great excuse. Islam has a great excuse. A huge swath of their population that believes it, who believe in the worst parts of it, are desperate people who still have to worry about how to eat. So I can't really throw that much shade at those people. Like, we believe in Sharia law. Stone the infidel. Well, yeah, like that's stupid. But you also have to worry about not starving to death. So obviously,
Maslow's
your priorities, your priorities are different from my priorities. So I'll allow you a little bit of leeway when they have hot pockets and microwaves. If they're still believing that shit, then I'll poop on them even more.
When I start hearing somebody when I start seeing somebody teabag me in Call of Duty and shout a bunch of Arabic slurs at me and munch down a hot pocket, yeah, okay. But I mean
I can't believe I shot an arrow through my house, dude. What the fuck did I do?
You did. You did that.
I went outside and I went around and I was like, dude, don't be poking out the side. Don't be poking out the side. And I walked around and right through the wooden shingle, I see an arrow point sticking out of the side of the house. Like,
we clearly need compound bow control in this country.
I'm renting. Shit.
Yes, you are. And security deposits exist for a reason.
Okay.
Now
let's go to the
we do have a format to appease because there may not be a god, there is still an omnipotent presence hanging above us, which will crack our skulls open if we do not keep it placated. And that is format. So now we are going to move from one dog shit, I know what's best, I can do what I want because reasons, ideology, onto a more sort of nihilistic version. This is the cringe of the week. And this is actually something, as opposed to a news item, as opposed to a video, this actually came to us from Twitter. It was something I found this morning. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it. The story ultimately being, and I'll let Jeff read through the thread itself, but the long and short of this story is that an openly gay, I believe, Indonesian comic artist was outed and reported to local authorities by some edgy boys, some really, I love my spicy memes. I'm such a badass on the internet, even though if you punch me in the face once, I'd probably cry like a little bitch. Well, they decided that they were going to try and ruin this kid's life, and they outed him, and he was so stressed out, he actually attempted to commit suicide. He's been in surgery for, I believe, the last 10 or 12 hours as they're trying to save his organs. And I mean, if this goes, honestly, in my opinion, and we'll see in the thread, and you guys will probably, I hope you'll agree with me at the end of it, but this goes beyond just being a piece of shit. These people, whoever did these edgy fucks, they took being abject pieces of shit who I wouldn't mind seeing gutted on a public square to a whole new fucking level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so this comes to us courtesy of @Gaming and Pandas. A few weeks ago, we shared a comic from Rizzy Draws on the plight of a gay bro in a country hostile to gay bros. While the hot takes and reaction to him were spicy, the outpouring of support from y'all was cool as fuck, which makes the news I'm about to share that much more. We'll look at this comic real quick. Oh, I don't know if I can actually see this very well. My friends in the United States are celebrating Pride Month, a month to celebrate the love that conquers all. I'm so proud of them, but sometimes I wish I was there. And there's an image of gay equals haram, because they live in Indonesia. Again, from Gaming Pandas, those of you who also follow Rizzy Draws knows that a few days ago he locked down his account after posting a message saying he had to go. This is due to some people who did not like him forwarding his information to authorities in order to out him to his government. Followers on here know that this is not a unique situation and is a rather popular tactic by a certain group. There's been an update to Rizzy Draw's situation, and I'm afraid that it's not one that he'll be able to share himself. After his information was forwarded by internet folk in order to curb government harassment of him and his family, Rizzy decided to take his own life. According to a family friend, he ingested some household chemicals and has severe liver, kidney, intestinal damage and is not likely to recover from.
Jesus Christ.
The outlook may be grim, and I know a lot of people out there aren't exactly the praying type, but please keep Rizzy in your thoughts. I'll be keeping tabs of the situation. Will update what can be shared should the situation change. Trying to word this in a way that doesn't sound morbid. The offers are very generous, but please hold off on donations for his recovery and expatriation at this time, in case it might not be necessary, because he might be dead. Update. Family friend is informing me that Rizzy is apparently either out of or will soon be coming out of surgery. Still awaiting clarification from family friend on Rizzy's prognosis. Minor bit of a language barrier to work with, along with understandable delay. Riz is still being operated on. Operation has gone well for the most part. He has widespread minor tissue damage, but some severe permanent organ damage. Apparently it's to the extent that one of his kidneys will no longer be functional. The family knows who did this, are trying to contact the authorities in their respective countries on what the legal recourse is. They're out for blood. Let's see. Riz is presently about to finish surgery. He will need to be kept in recovery and observation for a week, after which his family will take him to his grandparents' place that's off the grid where he will be safe. Final updates now. Doctors found the kidneys aren't as badly damaged as they first thought and suggest he may be healed over time. He'll have to avoid drinking anything but water for months. However, his liver needs to be treated as it's still swelling. There's a little bit more, but ultimately, like, we get the basic general gist of this. This is what happened. This is basically what happened. Rizzy Draws was a gay artist in Indonesia. Some feckless cocksucker decided to take it upon themselves to report Rizzy, to dox Rizzy, and report him to the authorities as a homosexual, which is a dangerous thing to be in Indonesia. And Rizzy, fearing that they might have to be incarcerated for being gay, decided to attempt suicide. And may have permanently damaged part of their body, maybe will recover, we don't know yet. But that is some cringy, fucked up, stupid ass shit.
Yeah.
I don't say this that often. In fact, I almost never say this online. But if somehow this gets to the people who are behind this, kill yourself. Do the world, do yourselves a favor, and fucking kill yourself before your mothers have to discover what abject fucking sad sack pieces of shit they fucking raised. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be better if they actually didn't kill themselves and were forced
to
live
with
with
I'm suggesting an easy way out, and I'm even partially like, because I mean we see these edgy fucks all over the place. They think ruining people's lives, putting people's lives in fucking danger is fucking funny, bro. It's for the lulz, bro. Yeah, you know what? Do yourself a favor. Kill yourself. Because if you continue living as this person that you are, either you are going to become the actual object of such abject scorn and ire for so long within your life, when you were inevitably outed as being the feckless cunt piece of shit you fucking are, that your life won't be worth living. And if you want to do your mother's favors, let them think you were just depressed because you were such a sad sack piece of shit who decided to hang himself in his bathroom. Short of that, get the fuck off the internet. Go get a fucking job. Keep your fucking head down, and hope that the people who are more pissed than I am don't ever decide to do this kind of shit to you, because I can guarantee you there are people out there who will do way worse shit than you thought was just funny, fucker.
Yeah. Well, and I obviously these stupid idiots that did this are that's unbelievable and extremely unacceptable. But Jeff, I was thinking about what you were saying a little bit more that I had time to kind of digest it a little bit. I think Islam is definitely worse than Scientology because this is the byproduct of a fundamentalist religion that is just like embedded into many governments around the world, many countries. And, like Armin Navabi tells a story. He's the founder of American Atheists. He tells a story that when he was a kid, there's a certain age when you're Muslim, there's a certain age that you hit that you go from like being protected. It's essentially like if you die before the age of, I forget what it is, like 8 or something, you automatically go to paradise, to heaven, right? And like he was so enthralled with Islam, and obviously growing up in the Islamic countries where he was, that's a huge part of their life. And so like he got on this thing where he was asking all his parents and his imams and all these people like these questions, and they weren't giving him really good answers. And he got to a point where he felt like he was a non-believer. He was like really struggling, and he knew if he got to this age that he was automatically going to go to hell because he's a non-believer. So he actually tried killing himself as a child. He jumped out of a building before that age. Now he didn't die. He a ton of surgery had to be done, and he grew up and he created one of the biggest juggernaut atheist platforms out there, which is the American Atheists, the Atheist Republic, and right. But I mean that's the scary thing. I mean, like when you live by these stories, when this kid that these stupid troll idiots, like it's so serious that he knew once he was found out he had to like try and take care of it himself before it came out because of this is how dangerous it is, And
well, I would ask a question: where did he grow up that drove him to this ideology that this is where it's supposed to, how this is supposed to work?
Who, Armin?
Yeah, Armin.
Oh, Armin, I believe he grew up in Iraq. I'm pretty sure it was Iraq.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I mean, like, I hear you, and I agree with you. Like, it's a horrible situation, and I feel you. I feel you. The reason why I would say that cults like Scientology, cults like even the holistic industry, the anti-vax industry are worse than Islam. I'll tell you why. It's very simple. If you deal with something that has a broader sociological scope, that has this oppressive environment that leads people to believing these dog shit ideas, you can at least understand where they come from. But these types of doctrines, like Scientology, like the anti-vax movement, like these fucking crazy, weird hippie cults, these people know better. They are specifically preying on people who have every opportunity to know that what they're thinking or what they're believing and what they're walking into is wrong. Whereas things like Islam and radical Islam prey upon people who have no other options very commonly. Very commonly. I'm not saying that one is necessarily more evil than the other. Yeah. They're all evil. They're all shit.
Yeah.
But one's more oddly nefarious.
I would say that Islam, because of the stranglehold it has over certain governments and certain people, I mean, there is no choice. They have to, at least in Scientology, like you said, or Mormonism or whatever, they still have the right through, a lot of personal mental strain to actually leave when they figure it out, But like in Islam, you can't just pick up and move to America. Like that's not how it works. There's a lot of people like when we were in Egypt, they were begging us, Sarah and I, for like copies of our passports or things that they can bring to their governments as we're friends of them so they can leave Egypt. I mean, there were like 6, 7, 8 people that all had their own ways of, I need to get out and I can't get out. And so, I mean, like that's the thing. Scientology, you can fucking leave the gold base. You can trick the guards and somehow escape like Ron did. But
that's a good point. That's a good point too. Damn.
I mean, I'll say this.
Damn.
We do.
You're conflicting me right now, Sean. You're really conflicting me right now.
Well, we Yeah,
Damn.
I mean, we do have to. We do have to wrap the show up because we've gone our time. I'm just gonna say for my final piece. The very fact that we have tablets and cell phones and intercontinental internet connections and all this wonderful shit, it can really be beguiling. It can be the kind of thing that might make you think that we are some kind of an advanced species, that we're somehow greater than the sum of our primitive parts. But when you look at the kinds of shit that people will do, be it for religious reasons or just because they're shitty cunts on the internet who don't know how to have an actual genuine laugh that doesn't fucking nearly kill a person. One thing we can say is that religious dogma, religious orthodoxies, and just the shitty nature of people genuinely shows that we have a very, very long way to go.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
Sure, we do.
I agree.
Overall.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on. This was really, really fun.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Awesome. Let me make sure we're all caught up over here. Let's see. There are so many of the Streamlabs. It's all about the pre-show. Like, maybe Rimshi, be sure to check out the pre-show. Yeah, check out the pre-show. Anime Moon, as a Gaelic pagan, I'm going to suggest the bigger problem isn't so much religions as it is organized orthodox structures, pushing a dogmatic worldview. Dogmatic worldview also in before you know who, Nick.
Well, let me just say to that real quick. I mean, in the pagan times, they would cut out people's hearts and sacrifice them too. So, they had their own weird ways of trying to appease their god. So, I mean,
yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Zombie Licorice says, don't underestimate radical Jews. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent to protect American universities from Ben Shapiro attacks. Hey, there you go.
Well played.
Gonza Duke says, is Aubrey Plaza hot? Please discuss. Yes, Aubrey Plaza is very hot.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's absolutely stunning.
Mm.
Jables says, the Discord politics wars are back. Join your factions. Pick your allies carefully. All right. Come on. Knock it off. Larry
Wait,
Kubiak.
what's happened before?
Larry Kubiak with the big 50 bones. We love you, Larry. You're such a fucking stud. Caught the stream super late due to sleep caused by heavy drinking. Here are some quick bucks and much love. Dude, you know, Larry, we fucking love you. We always do. You're a fucking prince of a man. All right, so a couple of things before we get done. Next week, me and Nick are going to be in LA, in Anaheim. We're going to be doing the VidCon thing. The Saints,
awesome.
The only time the Saints does not play on Sunday is during VidCon. The Saints plays on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only time out of the year.
We will be in transit during your normal scheduled Saints time.
We'll be going home. During Sunday.
We'll be going home during Sunday, so we're going to bring you a Saturday spectacular on top of all the other live streams and silly shit you're going to find coming out of VidCon, because this time we're not fucking around. We're not bothering with the convention. We don't need to discover that
we're just
one of the
make
Paul brothers
videos.
left $3,000 that I should have found, because I usually look in bushes for bags full of money, but this time
we're going to go crazy this time. Crazy. This channel, my channel, Nick's channel, we're all going to be going crazy this entire fucking week. Lots of shit coming up, but the actual show, the full-blown, real YouTube Satan show will be on Saturday, but at the same time, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Same as everything, just a day different. It's the only time of the year that we do anything different.
Yeah. And maybe if we get silly enough, we'll pre-record some dumb shit to post on Saturday.
People are asking, what about midweek? We are going to actually try to do midweek while we're down there. We'll see if we have the connection for it. We'll try. We'll definitely try.
I mean, you've seen us give honest efforts to streaming when it didn't work before. So you're gonna get a midweek. Don't worry, it'll happen.
One way or the other.
Somehow it might happen at the end of the week, but you'll get it.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah. So all of that being said, our guest tonight has been Sean from Mythicist Milwaukee. It's www.mythicistmilwaukee.com. All the links are in the description. Their Twitter, their YouTube, their website, everything they put. Probably
as well as their Undersubbed.
Probably the best convention out there right now.
Thanks, dude.
All the Skepticons are dog shit. All the atheist cons are dog shit. MythCon is like the diamond in the fucking rough, right? Honestly.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
Really
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're kicking the shit out of you. Get some of that Saints luck though. Leave a whole bunch of your serious prep to the last minute. Trust me.
Yeah. That's how we do it. We do it every week.
Anyone that knows me knows I'd freak out if I did it that way.
So do we. So do we. That's how you stay alive, man. You gotta get that like, oh fuck, I gotta do a show. Oh shit, fuck, dude. Okay, do the ticker. All right, I'll find some
links.
Oh shit, it's great.
Yep. Amazing. And then when we and the funny thing is too is honestly when we do everything, when we get everything done in advance, flat, it's dead.
Yeah,
every time.
You got to do it like last minute, and then you go crazy, and then you shoot an arrow through your fucking house. No big fucking deal. Who gives a shit? Let's get crazy. Okay, and anyway, so our undersubbed of the week has been Godless Spellchecker, the Night Tube. Go check them out. We got all the links in the description. Go check them out. They're absolutely fantastic. These are wonderful people. They're huge. They're terrific. They're unbelievable. You've never seen anything like it. It's incredible. But yeah, that being the case, we have been your YouTube Saints. We'll see you guys probably Thursday, and then we'll see you guys on Saturday live from VidCon, probably drunk.
Everybody strike an anime pose to say goodbye. You don't have to. I was just getting Jeff to. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Hey, we got us both. You lazy piece of shit. Man, fuck you, Nick. You fucking asshole. Jesus.
Bye, guys.